Chapter 827. Jiang Feng was playing dirty. Li Fan sneered. As expected of big brother Jiang, this was a familiar tactic. Jiang Feng didn't dare to attack openly, so he began to play in the dark. This was really Jiang Feng's personality. He had schemed against Li Fan countless times in the dark. This time, he was playing dirty again, stabbing him in the back. Humph. Li Fan controlled the chess piece while using his vital energy to resist Jiang Feng's control. Li Fan's vital energy was strong. Not only could he control the chess piece, but he could also suppress Jiang Feng's vital energy, causing Jiang Feng's expression to turn unsightly. What was going on? Why was his inner energy inferior to Li Fan's? Jiang Feng felt like he was wrestling with a man of great strength. He had no chance of winning. This Li Fan. After losing an arm last time, how did he become even stronger instead? Did this kid eat some kind of energy pill? His inner energy had increased to this level. Big brother Jiang, I'm done. It's your turn. Li Fan withstood the pressure that Jiang Feng gave him and forced himself to finish this move. Jiang Feng didn't say anything. He only made his move, then gave a look to the escorts behind Li Fan. These escorts didn't make a sound. They secretly extended their hands and used their vital energy and Jiang Feng's on the chess piece that Li Fan was about to lift. At least 8 or 9 escorts were using vital energy to resist Li Fan. This amount of vital energy was not a small amount. However, Li Fan was unmoved. With his own strength, he forcefully turned the situation around and used his vital energy to lift the chess piece. The escorts felt a sweetness in their mouths as they held back the blood that was about to gush out. Li Fan's inner energy was really strong. He already had the demeanor of a grandmaster. There were so many of them, but they couldn't even suppress Li Fan. Big brother Jiang, it's your turn again. After Li Fan finished moving his chess piece, he gestured for Jiang Feng to continue. Jiang Feng frowned slightly. Although this game of chess was a battle of words, it seemed that he was already at a disadvantage. Moreover, every time Li Fan watched him move the chess pieces, he did not use his means to deal with him. Was Li Fan mocking him? Jiang Feng was furious. He had to think of a way to suppress Li Fan. Otherwise, if he won, he would definitely go to heaven. He glanced at Shui Wuxin, who nodded. Shui Wuxin felt that doing this was against the morality of Jiang Hu. However, she felt that she should do this for the sake of her brother Jiang. All the darkness, let me bear it myself. Shui Wuxin stealthily took out a small silver sword from under his tongue. This small sword was only 1 inch long and 2 centimeters wide. It looked like a thick needle. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't be able to see it. This was Shui Wuxin's trump card. She had used this move to kill countless powerful opponents. At this time, Li Fan was focused on the battle of words with brother Jiang. He should not have noticed her little trick. Moreover, Shui Wuxin did not intend to kill Li Fan. Instead, she wanted to use her secret sword to attack Li Fan's acupuncture point. This would make Li Fan temporarily lose the ability to move and use his true qi. Naturally, he would lose to her brother Jiang. Shui Wuxin aimed her lips at Li Fan. She was ready to spit out the secret sword and seal his acupuncture point. She did not know how many years she had used this skill, so she had some understanding of it. While no one was paying attention, Shui Wuxin suddenly spat out the secret sword. This secret sword turned into a faint silver light and instantly pierced the acupuncture point on Li Fan's back. Li Fan did not seem to be on guard. Shui Wuxin secretly said in her heart, "Sorry, Li Fan, you asked for it." However, the moment the secret sword was about to pierce the acupuncture point, Li Fan's back suddenly emitted true qi. It formed an armor and directly blocked Shui Wuxin's secret sword. Shui Wuxin was shocked, and he couldn't believe his own eyes. He blocked it. How was this possible? Her secret sword had never failed before. Moreover, Li Fan was still competing with Brother Jiang in terms of internal energy. How could he have the ability to seal her secret sword? Humph! Li Fan suddenly snorted coldly. His body exploded with a circle of true qi. This true qi immediately spread out in all directions. The nearby tables and chairs were blown askew. Shui Wuxin was also blown back 2 steps. Her body hit the wall behind her. Brother Jiang, you and I are both martial artists. You should know that martial arts are sacred. Li Fan's eyes became serious. He said to Jiang Feng, if you go too far, don't blame me, Li Fan, for being impolite. I don't understand what you are saying. Jiang Feng's expression did not change. He only waved his hand. Everyone else, stand a little further away. Otherwise, Brother Li will be suspicious. The other escorts immediately stood a little further away. Even at this time, he only used this trick. Li Fan only wanted to sneer. But Jiang Feng could be heartless, but he couldn't be righteous. Li Fan was a standard martial artist. He had the most basic dignity of a martial artist. Come, let us continue. Jiang Feng finally stopped scheming. Instead, he used his true qi to control the chess. Step by step, he played against Li Fan. Although Li Fan's true qi was very strong, his chess skills were still slightly inferior to Jiang Feng. The two of them played for more than an hour. Jiang Feng won 1 move against Li Fan. Brother Li, it seems that I have won. Jiang Feng stood up and cupped his hands towards Li Fan. Thank you for letting me win. Brother Jiang's chess skills are not bad. It seems that I have lost today. Li Fan stretched his body. When I have time, I will come and play chess with you again. Although I have won chess, I have lost in martial arts. Jiang Feng did not know why, but he began to pretend to be low-key. In terms of internal energy, Brother Li is still better. Strong internal energy does not mean good martial arts. Li Fan said, and good martial arts does not necessarily mean good moral character. I feel that for us martial artists, what we should learn and cultivate the most should be our own character. Brother Jiang, don't you think so? With 1 sentence, he scolded both Jiang Feng and Murong. This Li Fan was ruthless enough. He looked low-key and humble, but in fact, he dared to provoke and talk back to anyone. That was why he was called Little Overlord. Brother Li's words are deep. I may not understand. Jiang Feng waved his hand. Let's treat this match as a draw. Since the Wen duel is over, I have already prepared some drinks in the banquet hall. Why don't we have a drink? What do you think? Jiang Feng asked. Li Fan laughed and waved his hand. Since we are neighbors, I will come to eat and drink again in the future. Today, I will not disturb you anymore. Once again, I wish Brother Jiang a prosperous business. I will visit another day. Li Fan came over to find out the bottom line of this Jiang Feng escort agency. Now that he had more or less found out, it was time for him to leave. Then I won't send you off. Jiang Feng watched Li Fan leave and felt relieved in his heart. This test, at least he had passed it. Chapter 828. Just like that, Tianxia Escort Agency opened for business. The struggle between the two agencies had just begun. Unlike Li Fan's extraordinary logistics, Tianxia Escort Agency's business was booming. Every day, an endless stream of people came to the agency. Heroes from all walks of life came to support them. In comparison, extraordinary logistics was deserted with almost no customers. Fortunately, there were still some normal orders, but not many. It was just a situation where they didn't lose money. Soon, the first snow fell, blanketing all of City A. It was a beautiful sight. Li Fan walked out of the school in a plain black tracksuit. Although it was a bit cold outside, it was no different from usual for Li Fan. He had a cold-resistant constitution and had true qi protecting his body. This bit of cold was nothing to him. When he entered Phenom Logistics building, he saw Big Dipper, Chen Junhua, and Yan Kai sitting around a square table. Every one of them behaved obediently like a group of children playing a game of dividing the fruits among themselves. Xia Ho and Yang Shuiwei walked out. One of them was wearing a red dress, while the other was wearing a green dress. Both of them were beautiful in their own way. Both girls were in charge of logistics, especially Yang Shuiwei. She seemed to feel uneasy about being an idler in the agency, so she took the initiative to help with logistics every day. Yang Shuiwei seemed to have a strange expression on her face due to Guan Wenbao's absence. She counted down the days on the calendar. Every day, when it was time to close the store, she would stand in front of the door and stare blankly at the street as if waiting for her husband to come. Yang Shuiwei was beautiful to begin with. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been coveted by the young master of the Fong family. A femme fatale would lead to a fatal disaster. This was the advantage of a beautiful woman, but also the fatal flaw. Miss Yang, why aren't you guarding the door today? Li Fan chuckled as he smelled Yang Shuiwei, teasing her on purpose. Yang Shuiwei rolled her eyes. Chief Escort, you're teasing me again. I just like to look at the scenery outside. There's nothing beautiful about this scenery. Xia Ho looked out the window. Especially the color of the sunset. It's not red enough compared to a certain someone. Sister Xia, you're making fun of me too. Yang Shuiwei seemed to be a little upset. You guys can't talk nonsense. In my heart, there's only Shiro. The dead are gone. You have to get over it as soon as possible. Xia Yi gently touched her hair. Such a beautiful girl, it's time to find a suitable family. I want to live here for a while. Yang Shuiwei touched the black ribbon on her arm. I don't want to talk about the relationship between a man and a woman for at least 2 years. It's up to you. After Li Fan finished speaking, he glanced at the few people sitting in front of the square table. What are you doing here? Don't you have work to do? Big brother, we haven't had any business for 8 days. Yan Kai curled his lips. What job? Then, let's count this month's income. I have to keep myself busy. What's the point if there's no income? I can't make ends meet again this month. Yan Kai shrugged and pointed across the street. A few pretty girls were standing in front of the opposite escort agency, flirting with each other, causing many customers to rush over there. Did you see, there used to be some worldly logistics business. But now, they're all attracted by the big girls and big thighs across. Those pretty girls are nothing. Li Fan patted Yan Kai's shoulder. No matter what, you're a handsome man. Go out and help me attract some female customers. Fuck, do I look like a gigolo? Yan Kai was instantly angered. Li Fan laughed and said straightforwardly, you indeed don't look like one. You're one from the start. Fuck. You're slandering me, a blatant slandering. This kind of thing, the prideful Yan Kai would never agree even if he was beaten to death. Li Fan was just joking, he didn't really intend to let Yan Kai do it. We'll talk about this later. By the way, why are you all crowding around here? Why do I smell something fragrant? Idiot, today is the winter solstice. Xia Yi coquettishly looked at Li Fan. How could you even forget this day? Shuiwei and I cooked some dumplings for everyone to try. Just treat it as a holiday. In a city, there was a traditional saying that if you don't eat dumplings on the winter solstice, your ears and nose will be frozen off. Therefore, Xia Yi and the others made dumplings to celebrate the winter solstice of their extraordinary escort agency. What's the filling? Hearing that they were going to eat dumplings, Li Fan was a little greedy. His parents were traveling around the world and hadn't returned yet. Not to mention dumplings, he hadn't even eaten a home-cooked meal yet. Pickled vegetables and pork. Just right, it's what I want to eat the most. Hearing that, Li Fan was immediately happy. He didn't stand on ceremony and sat down, waiting for the meal to be served. After a while, the steaming hot dumplings were served. A group of people surrounded them and began to eat heartily. Li Fan couldn't wait to eat a few dumplings and was a little surprised. Not bad, who made it? Li Fan asked. It doesn't look like little senior sister's cooking. Xia Yi's cooking was indeed not bad, but the taste was a little bland and sweet. Although the taste was also very good, for Li Fan, who was born in the northeast, it was a little unsuitable. But this time, the dumplings had a moderate taste and were very popular with Li Fan. I made it, benefactor. Yang Shueiyue said a little shyly, I don't know if it suits your taste, yes. Li Fan hurriedly clapped his hands. The taste is just right, it's not much different from little senior sisters. Li Fan was not stupid, he even praised Xia Yi. How long has it been since I ate such delicious dumplings? Unfortunately, I don't have the fortune of having a big brother. Yan Kai pointed out and said sourly, I have a good appetite today, I'll eat more. Let him fight with the monkeys in the deep forest for fruits. His words caused Yang Shueiyue's eyes to drift out of the window, a little absent-minded. Xia Yi angrily slapped Yan Kai. Yan Kai didn't dare to say anything to Xia Yi and lowered his head to eat the dumplings. Dang, dang, dang. Just when the group was enjoying their winter solstice dumplings, someone knocked on the door of the escort agency. Li Fan and the rest opened the door and saw Shui Wuxin standing outside, holding an exquisite food box. I'm really sorry to disturb you. I'm here to give you some dumplings under the orders of my chief escort Jiang. Jiang Feng gave them dumplings. Yan Kai couldn't help but laugh. What's the saying again? What's it called, paying respects to the chicken? Hearing this, Shui Wuxin's face turned ugly. You're a guest, how can you say such words? Xia Yi looked at Yan Kai reproachfully. This guy's words were too unpleasant. Chapter 829. Shui Wuxin was a guest, but she wasn't. No one knew why she had come to visit with dumplings in her hands. Li Fan decided to ask her first. Thank you for your kindness, Brother Jiang, but you don't visit me for no reason. I'm sure Heroine Shui wouldn't come for nothing on such a snowy day, right? Since you asked, there's no harm in me telling you. Shui Wuxin said, today is the winter solstice. My head escort wants me to ask you if you want to attend the escort conference. Escort conference. When Li Fan heard this name, he wanted to laugh. Why did this name sound so annoying? The escort conference is also known as the Golden Darts Conference. It's only held on the winter solstice. On this day, all the escorts in the world will gather here for the Golden Darts Conference. You came to City A. Li Fan was a little surprised. Yes. Shui Wuxi nodded. The most powerful escort in the world back then, Old Master Jean. After he retired, he returned to his hometown in City A and built a manor in a small town below City A. Every year, the pugilistic world will hold a Golden Darts Conference and gather at Old Master Jin's house to select this year's Golden Darts Conference. The Golden Darts Conference has the privilege of traveling the world. No matter where you go, everyone in the pugilistic world will help you. Was the Golden Darts Conference that awesome? Li Fan raised his eyebrows and looked at Shui Wuxin. He knew nothing about the Golden Darts Conference and the Golden Darts Conference. Moreover, the people in the agency were not professional escorts. They were all half-baked, so they didn't know much about these things. And yet, Jiang Feng had actually sent someone over to inform him of this matter. This was something that was truly perplexing. What good would it do for Jiang Feng to tell Li Fan about it? Li Fan really couldn't figure it out. Sure, let's go. Xia Ho tugged at the corner of Li Fan's clothes from behind and said on his behalf, "Please thank head escort Jiang for us." Yang Shuiwei walked over and took the lunchbox from him politely. "Thank you. You're welcome. We're all neighbors. Our head escort also hopes that Fifan can live a better life." These words were said with such sincerity that Li Fan almost believed it himself. "Our chief escort has already prepared a carriage. Chief Escort Li, would you like to go with us?" "Sure, let's go together." Li Fan wiped his mouth and stood up. "Junhua, come with me." "Yan Kai, Mr. Big Dipper, I'll have to trouble you to look after the house this time." "It's nothing." Big Dipper gave Li Fan a reassuring look. "Go get busy. Make sure you get this gold medal escort to Fifan this year. There are many experts in the world, and I, Li Fan, am just one of them. However, I will do my best." Li Fan cupped his hands at Big Dipper. "But we definitely won't embarrass our agency." "Alright, I'll accompany you." Chen Junhua put the door-sized sword back on his back. Although Chen Junhua was obsessed with the sword Dao, he also attached great importance to his appearance. Every time he met someone, he had to dress himself up to look spirited. Chen Junhua had a crew cut and wore a black robe with arrow sleeves. With the sword on his back, he stood tall and handsome. "The carriage is at the door. This way please." Shui Wuxin extended his hand to invite Li Fan. Li Fan nodded, put on a navy coat, and walked out with Chen Junhua. A white Iveco was already parked outside. Jiang Feng sat inside and looked at Li Fan enthusiastically. "Brotherly, I knew you'd come." Jiang Feng's face was full of smiles, looking harmless to humans and animals. If Brotherly wasn't here today, the Golden Darts convention wouldn't be exciting. "Big brother Jiang, you're too polite." Li Fan looked at Jiang Feng, who was sitting opposite him. "I'm so ignorant. I have to thank brother Jiang for reminding me." "Sigh, there's no need to be so polite with me. We're all escorts and neighbors. I'll definitely take care of you when I need to. We're all chased out of Murong's house. We're like brothers outside, don't you think so?" "Speaking of which, big brother Jiang, are you really willing to listen to Murong's orders?" Li Fan suddenly asked, and Jiang Feng was taken aback. However, Jiang Feng was not an ordinary person. He reacted quickly. "Although I'm chased out of the sect, a teacher for a day is a father for life. Regardless of whether I'm at Murong's house or not, I'll still respect Master." "Is that so?" Li Fan didn't say anything else. Jiang Feng's words sounded nice, but he understood it very well. There was a flash of hatred in this brother's eyes when he looked at Murong's blog. He was the only one who saw this scene when he opened his true eye. No one else noticed it at all. "If younger brotherly can become a gold medal escort, please take care of our small escort agency in the future. There are many talents in the pugilistic world. It's not my turn yet." Li Fan was very humble when he was humble, but he was arrogant when he was arrogant. It could be said that he had two personalities. Younger brother Li's martial arts are already enough to dominate the world. Jiang Feng looked at Li Fan and asked, "How can that be? There's always someone better than you." Li Fan shook his head. "Big brother Jiang, there's no need to be so polite. Isn't your unity of mind and demon also unrivaled in the world? In this world, there are 3 people with the strongest talents in the pugilistic world. One is you, younger brother Lee, who has the abnormal bone-changing technique. The other is me, who has the unity of mind and demon. And the strongest person is Murong-ing, who has the greatest advantage among the 3 talents, turning nothingness into reality. As he spoke, Jiang Feng looked Li Fan up and down. But from what I see, you seem to have awakened some of the power of turning nothingness into reality recently, and you're also proficient in the ability of some inner demons. In this way, Li Fan, you have the 3 major talents and have the 5 flowers in bloom. Tell me, who in this world can be your opponent? Big brother Jiang, you must be joking. Li Fan denied flatly. The abnormal bone-changing technique is indeed my talent, but I only have a slight understanding of the unity of mind and demon and turning nothingness into reality. I can't be compared to you and Murong-ing at all. There's no point in putting me on such a pedestal. Why don't we talk about something important? What do you think? What is it? Why don't we sit down and talk about how to deal with Murong Villa together? What do you think? I've never had such thoughts. Jiang Feng hurriedly shook his head. You'd better not have them either. Anyway, I've said what I want to say. Li Fan stretched lazily. Whether you do it or not, it's your business. I'm just curious. Jiang Feng's eyes flashed. Little Overlord Li Fan, why would you choose to ally with me? Chapter 830. When Huang Lei opened his eyes, he realized that his surroundings were damp and dark. He seemed to be locked in a small warehouse, which was filled with stinky fish and shrimps, and the smell was very unpleasant. Damn it, where am I? Huang Lei smelled a fishy smell at the corner of his mouth, and it was obvious that he was bleeding. He licked his lips, and with his swollen and painful head, he recalled what happened earlier. He was driving a car on the mountain road with the woman he won from the rich second generation. In the end, he was blocked by a truck halfway. Then, 4 brawny men wearing black jackets and white masks jumped out of the truck. They came up to him and started beating him up. Although he had trained his body in the security agency, Huang Lei's body was almost hollowed out by the wine and women. After breaking the chin of a strong man with great difficulty, Huang Lei was knocked down by a few people, and was beaten up. When he woke up, he was already here. Although Huang Lei was a bit lazy, he was not a fool. Someone must have set a trap for him. Where did that girl go? Damn it, my face really hurts. Huang Lei was in so much pain that he grimaced, and at this time, a loudspeaker in the warehouse suddenly sounded. After a burst of ear-piercing noise, a synthesized voice came out. Tell me, where is the gold? Huang Lei did not say anything, and the synthesized voice continued to ask. Tell me, where is the gold, and you will suffer less. Fuck you, who do you think your Master Lei is? Huang Lei directly cursed, using tricks to lock your Master Lei here, just to take some gold and silver from your Master Lei's house. Let me tell you, that bit of gold is your Master Lei's coffin. Don't even think of taking a single cent. Just as he finished speaking, a strong electric current suddenly came from the chair. This electric current was so strong that it was like a sharp knife, tearing Huang Lei's body from the inside, and he screamed in pain, tears and mucus flowed. If you don't tell the truth, you will suffer. The synthesized voice reminded Huang Lei, the human heart can only withstand a limited amount of electricity. Once the load is exceeded, your heart will stop. At that time, no matter how much money you have, you won't be able to spend it. Fuck your father. Saliva mixed with blood dripped from the corner of Huang Lei's mouth, but he continued to curse. If you have the guts, come out and fight, hide, don't pretend to be a grandson, come out. See if daddy won't fuck your stupid mouth until it's rotten. You don't learn from your mistakes. The electric current struck Huang Lei's body again, causing Huang Lei to lose control of his bladder. I want to see how long a nobody like you can last. The moonlight rose, and the night-shrouded city, Big Brother Jiang, although I don't really like your personality, but I know that you're a good person. But among the young heroes of the world, you are indeed outstanding among those who are skilled in both literature and martial arts. You flatter me. This is just one of them. In the Iveco, Li Fan and Jiang Feng sat face to face, continuing the previous topic. The most important thing is your hatred for Murong. Li Fan's words made Jiang Feng sneer. Brotherly, don't try to test me with these words. I have said, a teacher for a day is a father for life. I will not betray my master. Let's put it this way, I have no parents since I was a child. Thanks to my master who adopted me, I have a foothold. Master didn't mind my lowly background, accepted me as a disciple, regarded me as his own, and even taught me martial arts. How can I repay this kindness of raising me with a wolf's ambition? Jiang Feng's words were impeccable, beautiful as hell. But Li Fan smiled and said slowly, why don't we talk about Jiang Yi? As soon as the name Jiang Yi came out, Jiang Feng's brows wrinkled deeply, but soon relaxed. Who is this? I have never heard of him. Brother Jiang, there are only 5 people in this car. Apart from the driver, there are you, me, Water Heroine, and Qin Junhua. The driver is your trusted aide, and Water Heroine has everything planned out for you. As for Qin Junhua and I, we aren't gossipy people, so what can't we say? Or do you think that I will use our words to please Murong? Jiang Feng's eyes rolled twice, but he still didn't say anything. Jiang Yi used to be the son of Jiang Shuitian, the elder of the cult. Talking about this elder of the evil cult, it would probably be another novel biography. He used to be Li Wei's mentor and was a famous villain in the martial arts world. After that, he fought with Murong Bo for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, he was defeated by Murong Bo and ended up with his family ruined. Jiang Feng was expressionless when Li Fan said those words. I heard that Jiang Shuitian's wife also hanged herself together with her husband, leaving behind Jiang Yi in his swaddling clothes. I don't know if he's dead or alive. Jiang Feng clenched his fist slightly and listened to Li Fan. Everyone in the Jianghu is saying that Jiang Shuitian isn't a good person. His wife is an enchantress, so it's only natural that his sons won't be good people either. They'll all be little devils in the future. If they die, then so be it. Bullshit. Jiang Feng finally couldn't help but holler. Shui Wuxin hurriedly reached out and gently stroked the back of Jiang Feng's hand in a bid to comfort him, but Jiang Feng pushed her away angrily. However, Jiang Feng's rage only lasted for a few seconds before he immediately retracted it. I'm sorry. I lost my composure, Jiang Feng said. It's just that my family was also persecuted by this villain Jiang Shuitian back then. I can't control my emotions when I hear his name again. It's okay, Brother Jiang, you have us here now. Shui Wuxin continued to comfort Jiang Feng gently. Jiang Feng nodded and said, so, brotherly, what you want to say is not important to me. I just want to run the World Escort Agency well for the sake of us escorts. Hence, the life and death of Jiang Yi has nothing to do with me. Is that so? Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. I originally found out about Jiang Ye's whereabouts, but since Brother Jiang isn't interested, then forget it. Li Fan didn't lie. He did find out about Jiang Ye's information from the Phoenix King. Because he was going to have a falling out with Jiang Feng, Li Fan used an expensive price to trade this information with the Phoenix King with the principle of knowing oneself and knowing the enemy. He didn't expect that the value of the information would be so shocking. However, Jiang Feng didn't seem to be moved. Brotherly, my master has been very kind to me, so you don't have to say these useless things. Why don't we talk about something important, like tonight's Golden Darts conference? Jiang Feng looked at Li Fan without any emotion in his eyes. Chapter 831. Huang Lei didn't know how many times he had been electrocuted, but he was already on the verge of death. His body was scorched black, black smoke was coming out of his mouth, his pants were wet, and he had already lost control of his bladder. The stench spread throughout the small warehouse. Huang Lei didn't even have the strength to speak. His whole body was in a tearing pain. The pain was so severe that he fainted several times. But just as he fainted, a water gun sprayed water on Huang Lei's face, waking him up. After waking up, the electric current continued to destroy Huang Lei's nerves. This process went on for who knows how many times, but besides cursing, Huang Lei didn't utter a single word. I have to say, I underestimated you. The synthetic voice slowly said, I thought you were just an insignificant nobody, the weakness of Li Fan, the breakthrough point. I didn't expect you to have such backbone, to actually hold on until now. Huang Lei weakly smiled and spat out a mouthful of bloody phlegm. If you have the guts, come out, your Grandpa Lei will let you know, your Grandpa Lei is hard, not only his bones, I don't understand. The synthetic voice was a bit confused, you're obviously an insignificant little punk. Following Li Fan, you don't have any achievements, you're just trying to make a living. A scumbag like you, a little punk, how could you have this kind of backbone? Tell me honestly, and not only can I spare your life, I can even allow you to live in luxury and enjoy the rest of your life. Why not? Ha, ha, Huang Lei licked his lips, you're right. Grandpa Lei is a little punk, but I can still make you suffer. Come out. I'll help you lick Grandpa Lei's pants, clean. Reckless. The synthetic voice seemed to finally be a bit angry, you're really courting death. The electric current hit Huang Lei's body again. Huang Lei twitched, white foam flowed out from the corner of his mouth. When Huang Lei was being electrocuted, Li Fan and Jiang Feng had already driven to Victory Village under City A. Although this Victory Village was just an ordinary small town, it was famous in Jianghu because it produced a gold medal armed escort. Jin Tong left Victory Village when he was 12 years old. Then, he became a disciple of Shaolin Temple and learned Shaolin Kung Fu. After that, he went down the mountain and established the Jin Family Escort Agency. Slowly, it became the #1 escort agency in the world. However, Jin Tong was too busy working hard in his career when he was young. It was not until he was 40 years old that he married a beautiful woman and had a son named Jin Zhou. As the saying goes, a tiger father will not beget a dog son. Jin Zhou had thoroughly mastered the Jin family's fist technique passed down by his father and was regarded as a future golden escort. Jin Tong also had high hopes for his son. He planned to take advantage of this gold darts convention to find a suitable wife for his son. He couldn't allow his son to have a child at such an old age. When Li Fan and Jiang Feng arrived at Victory Village, there were already many cars parked there. Many people from the pugilistic world had come to participate in the conference. In the pugilistic world, there were many escort agencies. The big escort agencies were divided into 4 big escort agencies and 8 small escort agencies. The 4 big escort agencies were famous in the world. They were Dragon Emperor Escort Agency, Jin Family Escort Agency, Wind Cloud Escort Agency, and God of Fortune Escort Agency. The 8 small escort agencies were the up-and-coming escort agencies that were slightly inferior to the 4 big escort agencies. Among them were Extraordinary Escort Agency and World Escort Agency. Other than that, there were countless escort agencies of all sizes in the pugilistic world. There were hundreds and thousands of them. No matter which escort agency it was, they all wanted to show off their skills in the Gold Darts convention and show off their strongest skills. Many clients would also come to the Gold Darts convention. They also wanted to see which escort agency was the strongest and which one was worthy of their trust. Li Fan and Jiang Feng stood in front of the Jin family village. Looking at the antique mansion, they couldn't help but feel a little surprised. In the pugilistic world, many famous families liked this kind of ancient Chinese architecture. Speaking of which, this kind of courtyard was more in line with the feng shui layout. This should be one of the reasons. Let's fight the escort flags. Li Fan said, don't let down your aura. Seeing that there were many people from other escort agencies, Li Fan naturally didn't want to be at a disadvantage. He waved his hand and Chen Junhua immediately held the escort agency's flag in his hand. The escort flag was designed by Lin Yuhsin. On the black escort flag, there were huge golden words, extraordinary. The escort flag represented the identity of an escort agency. In the process of transporting escorts, unless it was a hidden escort, the escort flag must be raised high. The escort flag was there, the flag was there, and the person was there. This was the dignity of an escort agency. Shui Wuxin also raised the escort flag of World Escort Agency. The two escorts stood there and raised the escort flag, which immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Now, Extraordinary Escort Agency and World Escort Agency were both famous for their 8 small escort agencies. However, weren't these two agencies enemies? Why would they appear together? The surrounding people's gazes fell on them. Very soon, the Jin family's people came out to receive them. The servant who led them in. The manor was rather spacious with mountains and rivers. The layout was good and the feng shui was good. As Li Fan walked into the courtyard, he saw many escorts walking in as well. There were tall and short escorts, fat and skinny. Some had bulging temples. One look and one could tell that they were internal energy experts. Some had weak footsteps. It was obvious that their internal energy was lacking. After all, this was an open golden escort conference. All the escort agencies in the country would send people. Therefore, it wasn't surprising that there were different levels of strength. Move aside. When Li Fan stopped to observe, he heard a cold reprimand behind him. Li Fan turned to look. 2 men in golden escort uniforms walked over with steady steps. The road is facing the sky. Let's go our separate ways. Chen Junhua frowned and glared at the 2 escorts. Must you walk over us? A good dog doesn't block the way. The man walking in front had a scar at the corner of his eye. It was obvious that he had been injured in his early years. However, his eyes were sharp. His temples were bulging. He was obviously an expert. As for the other escort, he carried a golden escort flag with the words, Dragon Emperor, on his back. It was clear who they were. Dragon Emperor Escort Agency. Who are you talking about? Chen Junhua had been spoiled in Mount Hua since he was young. He had never been bullied like this. How dare an escort agency be so presumptuous? No matter how big an escort agency was, it couldn't go against a famous sect like Mount Hua. The huge sword on Chen Junhua's back started to move. I'm talking to you. Get lost. The man with scarred eyes scolded mercilessly. Chen Junhua couldn't stand it anymore. However, Li Fan reached out and pulled him back. Forget it. Let them pass. They had just arrived at another agency's territory. They had to show some respect to the escorts here. Humph. Chen Junhua retracted his sword aura. The scarred man sneered. Ha, Extraordinary Escort Agency. What the hell? After that, he left with his companions. Chapter 832. You can even tolerate this. Jiang Feng looked at Li Fan in surprise. This isn't like you, little overlord Li Fan. I'm here to participate in the convention, not to fight with him. Li Fan explained, I'm an honest and dutiful person, I don't like to fight. Jiang Feng was about to vomit blood. If Li Fan didn't like to fight, then everyone in this world was a good person. That person is called Long Ao, a senior escort of the Dragon Emperor Escort Agency. Shui Wuxin seemed to know the affairs of the pugilistic world. She stood at the side and said, this person is just like his name, extremely arrogant. Also surnamed Long. The Dragon Emperor Escort Agency has its rules. Jiang Feng explained for Shui Wuxin with a smile, the Dragon Emperor Escort Agency doesn't accept external escorts. All the escorts are orphans that they adopted and raised. Thus, every escort of the Dragon Emperor Escort Agency is given the surname Long, generation after generation, until today. I see. Li Fan nodded. This Dragon Emperor's Escort Agency had great foresight since they were young. Putting aside everything else, at the very least, their loyalty was very high. For an escort agency, loyalty and martial strength were equally important. You must be friends from the World Escort Agency and Extraordinary Escort Agency. Chief Escort Jiang, Chief Escort Li. A handsome man wearing a black escort outfit with a golden pauldrons walked over and cupped his hands towards Li Fan and Jiang Feng. The two of you are young and promising. I've long been fascinated by your elegant demeanor. Now that I've seen you today, you're indeed extraordinary. You're too polite. Not at all. Chief Escort Jean is the elegant and extraordinary one. Li Fan and Jiang Feng also cupped their hands. This person was none other than old Mr. Jin Tong's son, Jin Zhou. Although Jin Zhou was young, he had some fame in the pugilistic world. It was said that in order to improve the Kim family's fist technique, Jin Zhou went to Japan to study at the age of 18. He challenged the Japanese martial arts schools and defeated countless Japanese martial arts masters. He also learned some Japanese fighting techniques and integrated them into his own fist technique. Although many of Japan's fist techniques originated from China's early years, after so many years of development, they have already derived their own routines, which are worth learning. 2 years later, Jin Zhou returned to China. He had matured a lot. His history in the island could also be written into a book. Li Fan admired such a young hero. His bow was sincere. You two are being too polite. Jin Zhou was bold, which reminded Li Fan of Zhang Xiaotian. The personalities of these two were quite imaginable. If they met, they would probably become a pair of good brothers. I'm so happy to be able to come today. Now that the two of you are here, I will have competitors. Jin Zhou looked very happy, as if he was looking forward to fighting with Li Fan and the others. Let's see who will become the best escort this year. Let me warn you, I won't hold back. Don't worry, I will give it my all. Li Fan smiled shyly. But I still don't know the rules of the Golden Darts Conference. Ha! Brotherly, this is your first time participating in the Golden Darts Conference, right? Jin Zhou patted Li Fan's shoulder. The rules are not difficult at all. Before the conference starts, the host will announce them. Actually, they are all long-winded rules. You can just listen to them. Indeed, he was a casual person. Li Fan had a better impression of Jin Zhou. This kind of man was charming, and they would usually have many friends around them. There's still some time before the conference. Come, I'll bring you guys out for a drink. Jin Zhou seemed to be very bored. Without any explanation, he pulled Li Fan and Jiang Feng to the side. Sigh, Brother Jin, we still have to say hello to Old Man Jin. Jiang Feng said immediately. It's all right. My father is busy greeting people. Let's drink. Jin Zhou instructed the servant who was leading the guests. Go and tell my father that Jiang Feng from Tianxia Escort Agency and Li Fan from Fifan Escort Agency have been dragged out for a drink by me. Yes, young master. The servant went to do his work. This time, Li Fan and Jiang Feng had no choice but to follow Jin Zhou to a small pavilion in the manor. The pavilion was built in the middle of a man-made lake. However, it was winter now, and the lake was frozen. The pavilion was covered with pure white snow, which gave it a unique artistic conception. My two good brothers, this way please. Jin Zhou led the two of them into the small pavilion. There were already jars of wine on the stone table inside. It seemed that Jin Zhou often drank here. That was why his family prepared wine for him. Take a seat. This is the best new Hong. Jin Zhou laughed heartily. He patted the table and invited them to take a seat. I don't have any other hobbies. I just like to drink. But my father doesn't touch a drop of wine. I have no choice but to trouble you two brothers to drink with me. Don't say that. Li Fan smiled. Although my alcohol tolerance is not good, it is my honor to drink with brother Jin. Brotherly. Long time no see. I feel that you are becoming more and more worldly. Jiang Feng looked back at Li Fan as he lit the small stove next to him that was heating the wine. This is not worldly, but the rules of Jianghu. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Don't you also like to follow these rules? Jin Zhou looked at Li Fan in surprise. I remember that you are called the Little Overlord. You dislike people who follow rules the most. Why are you talking about rules today? Not long ago, my brother also asked me this question. Li Fan picked up a cup of wine. He didn't even need to heat it up. His left hand directly relied on the friction of his true qi to heat up the cold wine. Steam rose from the top of the wine cup, causing Jiang Feng and Jin Zhou to be stunned. This inner force skill is really shocking. Then, brotherly, how did you answer? Jin Zhou could not help but ask. Brother Jin, you actually don't need to ask me this question. Li Fan smiled. You are going to take over the Jin family escort agency in the future. Don't you understand? If I, Li Fan, am alone, I can wreak havoc in the heavenly court. But now I am in charge of a big family. They open their mouth to eat and lower their head to sleep. I have to be responsible for these people. I can't let them follow me, Li Fan, for nothing. When I just entered the door, Long Ao from the Dragon Emperor Escort Agency went to provoke you. Jin Zhou muttered, I really thought that the two of you would fight. Actually, there is no need to fight. Why? Because he will lose. So there is no point in fighting. Li Fan's words made Jin Zhou burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Little Overlord. You are indeed a little overlord. Jin Zhou was not flattering Li Fan. Rather, when Li Fan said these words, his body emitted a domineering aura that shocked him. Chapter 833. Jin Zhou took the hot wine that Li Fan handed over. It was indeed steaming hot, without the slightest bit of fake. How did he do it? Jin Zhou couldn't help but wonder. How could he heat up the wine like this just by using his qi? It was truly unbelievable. Brotherly, your control of qi is getting better and better. Jiang Feng received a cup of wine from Li Fan and asked thoughtfully. In the Jianghu, I'm afraid there's only one technique that can use qi so skillfully. Minor phaseless magic. The minor phaseless magic technique is indeed the best technique for controlling qi. Li Fan didn't refute, I've fought with the genie guards too many times. I've learned a bit of their martial arts. Brotherly is still the best. Jin Zhou couldn't help but praise, although I like to fight, I've never fought with the genie guards. How are their martial arts? From top to bottom, their martial arts are uneven. Li Fan said, the most powerful are the 4 great black guards. Below them is the commander. As far as I know, among the 4 great black guards, Ching Mohun is the strongest. Ching Mohun. Jin Zhou put down the wine cup, you've met this girl before. Brother Jin has met her before. I met her when I was studying in Japan. Jin Zhou nodded, this girl is amazing. She learned some ninjutsu in Japan and combined it with her martial arts to create a musical technique. I know. I've seen her musical technique. Li Fan's expression was solemn, she's very powerful. If used for assassination, it's very powerful. The 4 great black guards of the genie guards naturally have extraordinary martial arts. Jiang Feng took a sip of the warm wine. After so many years, the only person who made them fail was probably you. Brotherly, you're young and romantic. I heard that even the heartless saber is in love with you. My relationship with you she is indeed very good. It's just like Brother Zhang's relationship with Shui Wuxin. With that, Li Fan glanced at the table not far away. Shui Wuxin and Chen Junhua were sitting there, greeting their friends from the Jianghu. I see. Jiang Feng was choked by Li Fan's words. He originally wanted to continue mocking Li Fan, but who would have thought that Li Fan would react so quickly? His verbal skills were not inferior at all. Don't worry about women. Jin Zhou waved his hand, interrupting the 2 of them, with just us 3 brothers, what woman can't we find? Training and drinking. This is the real business. As he said that, Jin Zhou picked up a bottle of wine. Come, I'll carry one. Let's have a drink. Cheers. Jin Zhou had already raised his glass of wine. Li Fan and the rest nodded and clinked their glasses with Jin Zhou. The 3 of them toasted each other and soon became slightly tipsy. Big Brother Jin. There's a big meeting today. It's not good to drink too much, Jiang Feng asked. Sigh. We're all men, so 2 cups isn't too much. Jin Zhou immediately said, come on, drink, drink. After finishing this jar, let's become sworn brothers. Ah. When Li Fan heard this, he was stunned. This Jin Zhou was too excited. They only drank a few cups and he wants to become sworn brothers. Among the heroes in this world, let's not talk about the older ones or the women. The only ones that I look up to are the 2 of you. If I don't become sworn brothers with you, I'll lose something in this life. Come on, I see that we're like-minded. Why don't we drink a cup of wine today and then kowtow to each other and share our joys and sorrows? Li Fan and Jiang Feng did not speak, but Jiang Feng said again. That's true. The 3 of us are about the same age. Why don't we become sworn brothers today and share our joys and sorrows together? Look, since Brother Jiang said so, what do you say, Brotherly? Jin Zhou was very happy and then looked at Li Fan with excitement. Li Fan was now a bit embarrassed. He was suddenly stuck here, unable to advance or retreat. Li Fan was somewhat unwilling to become sworn brothers with Jiang Feng. What the fuck? If it was only to become sworn brothers with Jin Zhou, Li Fan would be quite willing. However, if he refused, Li Fan would not be able to bear it. Brotherly, hurry up and give us a straightforward answer. The Grand Assembly is about to begin. Jin Zhou saw a man dressed in red walking towards the gong with a drumstick in his hand. All right, I have no objections. Li Fan decided to become sworn brothers first and then observe the situation. He wanted to see what kind of tricks Jiang Feng had up his sleeve. The deepest path he had walked was most likely Jiang Feng's tricks. Good, good, good. That's great. Jin Zhou was overjoyed and poured 3 cups of wine. Brothers, let's become sworn brothers today. We'll kowtow to Emperor Ziwei and drink a cup of wine. That's it. According to age, Jin Zhou should be the eldest and Li Fan the third, right? Jiang Feng seemed to be very clear about the ages of the 3. That's right, I'm 26 this year. Jin Zhou nodded. What about you, Brother Jiang? I'm 25. These 2 are almost in their 30s. Li Fan muttered to himself. As for Brother Li, you should be 20 this year. Jiang Feng spoke with great familiarity. You haven't celebrated your birthday yet, but you'll be 20 after your birthday. It looks like second brother is very concerned about my affairs. Li Fan glanced at Jiang Feng. Oh, doesn't third brother know my affairs very well as well? There was a hidden meaning in Jiang Feng's words that caused Li Fan to hesitate. What did this Jiang Feng mean? Alright, stop wasting time, you two. Hurry up and kowtow, then drink. The gong had already sounded. The third gong was the signal for the grand assembly to begin. The first gong had already sounded, and the second one would be sounded in a few minutes. Jin Zhou was a little impatient. It looked like he was naturally impatient. Alright, don't be impatient, big brother. Li Fan and Jiang Feng hurriedly raised their cups of wine and knelt down in the direction of Emperor Ziwei along with Jin Zhou. The heavens above, the earth below, I, Jin Zhou. Jiang Feng. Li Fan. Today, we become sworn brothers. From now on, we will treat each other with sincerity and live and die together. Jin Zhou finished the wine in his cup in one gulp. Li Fan and Jiang Feng followed closely behind. The 3 of them kowtowed again. From now on, the 3 of us are brothers. Jin Zhou smashed his cup in agitation and wiped his mouth. Everyone, don't forget our kowtowing wine today. I definitely won't. Jiang Feng also wiped his mouth. Big brother, please take care of us from now on. From now on, we will live and die together. Li Fan smashed his cup as well. You guys have to take care of me, your third brother. The 3 of them became sworn brothers for no apparent reason. The second gong sounded. Jin Zhou patted the 2 of them on the back. Brothers, enough chit-chat. It's time to start this year's Golden Darts Conference. Li Fan brought Chen Junhua to the bottom of the platform. Chapter 834. The Golden Darts Conference could only be described with one word, lively. Li Fan felt that even the school sports day could not compare to this place. The gathering of all the armed escorts in the world had indeed increased the liveliness of this place. Murong's family's birthday celebration was also quite lively. However, they held it during the day, while the Golden Darts Conference was held at night. There were torches everywhere. They were probably arranged according to the style of ancient times. Everything was filled with an antique atmosphere. The third gong sounded, signaling the official start of the Golden Darts Conference. Old Master Jin Tong was already old, but he had white hair and a youthful complexion. He walked up the stage in high spirits. Behind him, there was a row of boxes with unknown contents inside. Old Master Jin chuckled as he stroked his beard and said, "The annual Golden Darts Conference is starting again. I guess all of you are sick of looking at me." Old Master Jin's words elicited a burst of laughter from the crowd. Many armed escorts said that they would not. Some of them even started to flatter Old Master Jin. The Golden Darts Conference is held every year. I'm sure all of you know the purpose of this conference. It's to select a gold-ranked escort, but a gold-ranked escort is just a title. What everyone really wants to do is to take advantage of this opportunity to communicate with each other so that all the armed escorts in the world can take care of each other and help each other. Old Master, you will always be a gold-ranked escort. Yes, this title belongs to you. The crowd cheered. Old Master Jean smiled happily. Thank you for your appreciation. However, I'm old, and there are many things that I can't do. After tonight, I'll retire and hand over the management of the escort agency to my son, Jean Zhou. Everyone couldn't help but sigh. Old man Jean actually said such words. It seemed that this time, all of them would really retire. Although he had handed over the agency to his son in the past, he had never let go of the power. However, it seemed like he was going to let go this time. One had to admit that one was old. Father, you're in the prime of your life. You can still work for a few more years. Jean Zhou cupped his fists and said loudly. I think you should continue working hard and give birth to a younger brother for me in the next 2 years. Nonsense. What nonsense are you spouting in front of so many guests? Old man Jean was so angry that he almost peed his pants. His son was good in every aspect, but sometimes he loved to cause trouble. The people in the audience also smiled awkwardly. Old man Jean was already a 70% man. No matter how energetic he was, it was impossible for him to have another child. Humans had to accept their old age. Man can conquer nature. However, Jean Zhou confidently expressed his thoughts. How about this, father? After you hand over the business to me, I will definitely take good care of it. When you're free, go to the Wandering Cloud Mountains and search for that art of immortality. You're talking nonsense again. Where did you get the longevity technique? The world is vast and full of wonders. Jean Zhou, however, had a resolute look in his eyes. What if you find it? What if you succeed in cultivating it? What if you regain your youth? You're only 70 years old. Father, your life has just begun. Jean Zhou's words were indeed quite infectious. Li Fan was a little moved when he heard it. Standing on the stage, Old Master Jean didn't know whether to laugh or cry. All right. You brat, your mouth is full of nonsense. You're making the guests laugh at you. Old Master Jean waved his hand. It's getting late. This year's Golden Darts competition should start soon. Everyone, do you see the boxes behind this old man? Old Master Jean pointed to the big metal boxes behind him. There are a total of 108 teams participating in this year's competition. Each team is made up of the elites among the escorts. Therefore, our selection is also based on the elite method. There are 108 metal boxes behind me. Only 10 of them are filled with gold bars. Everyone must set off from my Jinjia village and deliver the treasure boxes all the way to the city of a city. Whoever can deliver the gold bars there will be qualified to participate in the next round of the elite competition. Old Master Jean explained the rules in a simple manner. Li Fan heard it clearly. This was clearly a competition. Only 10 boxes contained gold bars. In other words, all 108 teams had to fight for those 10 boxes. This competition was indeed a little cruel. However, those who could withstand the pressure from so many people and successfully deliver the gold bars to their destination were definitely top-notch escorts. The boxes were chosen by drawing lots. Li Fan drew the unlucky number 38. Chen Junhua glanced at Li Fan intentionally. Li Fan curled his lips. Fuck. What are you looking at? Young master didn't do it on purpose. Fictional Escort Agency, number 38. The host on the stage was already loudly announcing the number. Chen Junhua carried the escort flag and used his qinggong to lightly jump onto the stage. Then, he single-handedly grabbed the heavy metal box and jumped off the stage. It's empty. Chen Junhua transmitted his voice to Li Fan. He had already determined the contents of the metal box through the weight. Li Fan nodded as he observed the others. When Li Fan saw the people from Dragon Emperor Escort Agency coming down with a metal box, his face lit up. They're here to rob Dragon Emperor Escort Agency. Aren't we supposed to bear with it? The convention has already started. How can we bear with his scolding? Li Fan rubbed his palms together. Escort is boring, but young master is interested in robbing them. All right. Chen Junhua followed Li Fan. He would do whatever he wanted. The two of them decided on a plan. Once the convention officially started, they would start fighting. Li Fan didn't care whether Jiang Feng and Jin Zhou got the gold bars or not. Anyway, the two of them were very strong. They didn't need his help. 10 minutes later, all the escorts had received their metal boxes and were ready to set off. Jin Clan was only responsible for delivering the boxes. They didn't even provide transportation. The 108 teams were going to show their prowess at this time. Long Ao of Dragon Emperor Escort Agency ordered his companions to carry the metal boxes on their backs. Then, he walked out of the manor openly. With the reputation of Dragon Emperor Escort Agency, who dared to touch their escorts. However, Long Ao didn't expect that a person who was hard to provoke had already set his eyes on them. The two people from Dragon Emperor Escort Agency carried the metal box and walked all the way to the edge of the town. A stone tablet engraved with Victory Village was placed on the roadside with an old tree beside it. Don't hide anymore. Come out. Long Ao suddenly stopped and shouted towards the back of the tree. A short figure walked out from behind the tree and laughed strangely. As expected of Long Ao. You actually discovered my aura. Earth drilling rat Nyohua, you've got guts. You actually have ideas on us. Long Ao crossed his arms, looked at the short man and sneered. Your Dragon Emperor Escort Agency has a dick. Do whatever you want. The earth drilling rat licked his lips. Today, your escorts are mine. Chapter 835. The earth drilling rat, Nyohua, was quite famous in Jianghu. His forte was the lying down punch, which was very powerful. However, this earth drilling mouse actually dared to provoke the Dragon Emperor's guard agency. It was truly audacious to the extreme. If you know what's good for you, hand over the gold bar. Your Dragon Emperor's escort agency's overlord status is already at stake. Wake up, the era of the 4 major escort agencies has long passed. Didn't you see that even old man Jean has washed his hands of the industry? Gold armor is long gone, but our Dragon Emperor escort agency is still flourishing. Long Ao crossed his arms and looked at the earth drilling mouse in front of him. He hooked his hand at him and said, "Come, let me see how capable you are." I am very capable. The earth drilling mouse seemed to want to show off its ability. It immediately stuck close to the ground, and leapt towards Long Ao. The earth drilling mouse held 2 short knives in its hands. Its entire body was like a gust of wind as it quickly approached Long Ao. The trees in front of him were all chopped into 2. Because the gopher was too fast, the trees seemed to have snapped in half. After a gust of wind, the earth drilling mouse arrived in front of Long Ao. Its twin blades were merciless as it chopped down towards Long Ao's head. The earth drilling mouse wanted Long Ao's life. He wanted to get rid of the Dragon Emperor's forces and make their escort agency famous. In the Jianghu, the competition between escort agencies was also very terrifying. Trash. Long Ao smiled disdainfully, and placed his hand on the blade at his waist. The earth drilling mouse only felt a flash of silver light in front of it. Long Ao's hand had already stuffed the long knife back into the hilt. The earth-drilling mole's body was sliced in half. Blood and intestines flew out, splattering everywhere. This was the Golden Darts Conference, and death was a common occurrence. Long Ao sneered, "With this three-legged cat's skill, you still have the nerve to come out and rob the goods. What a joke." "That's right. In this world, who dares to rob or drag an emperor's escort agency? Why don't these people take a good look in the mirror? They're really overestimating themselves. Let's go. We should be able to get there before dawn." Long Ao decided to continue their journey. "I don't think there will be any more rats that will dare to come and find us." Just as he was about to leave, a black escort flag suddenly appeared in front of him. The word "extraordinary" was written on it. Long Ao frowned, and his companion behind him laughed. "Hee, someone has come to court death." Li Fan and Chen Junhua descended from the sky at the same time and landed in front of the two escorts of Dragon Emperor Escort Agency. "Excuse me, everyone." Li Fan stood in front of them with his hands behind his back. "This road is blocked. A mere little overlord dares to provoke my Dragon Emperor Escort Agency." Long Ao coldly glanced at Li Fan without the least bit of fear. "It seems that you also want to end up like him." He pointed at the carcass of the gopher lying on the ground. "Don't say I didn't warn you." "Don't worry." Li Fan nodded. "I promise I won't let you down." "Long Ao, let me." Long Ao's companion put down the treasure chest in his hand and walked towards Li Fan. His companion suddenly reached out to grab the broadsword, but Chen Junhua took a step forward and immediately slashed down with the heavy sword in his hand. Clang! The fast broadsword was directly sent flying by Chen Junhua's broadsword. He was immediately shocked. But Chen Junhua did not hesitate at all. His broadsword pierced straight through the escort's body with a simple sound. Chen Junhua raised his broadsword high and lifted the corpse of the Dragon Emperor escort, throwing him to the side. This Huashan disciple's character was like a combination of Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai. When he was rational, he was very rational. But when it was time to kill, he would never show mercy. "You guys can't either." Li Fan glanced at Long Ao who was standing there and shrugged his shoulders. "Right now it's 2 against 1. It's still not too late for you to surrender. I'll kill you." Long Ao was furious, but he was not a fool. The strength that Chen Junhua had displayed just now had already shocked him. In the end, he was a brilliant disciple of Huashan. His swordsmanship was extraordinary. He had to be careful of him. The only thing he could think of was to kill that Li Fan first. Long Ao adjusted his innate qi and guarded against Chen Junhua. At the same time, he was thinking about how to kill Li Fan in an instant. Dragon Emperor glanced at Li Fan and began to provoke him. "Li Fan, aren't you known as the Little Overlord? Do you dare to fight with me? Bring it on." Li Fan hooked his finger at Dragon Emperor. Dragon Emperor was pleased. This little overlord had indeed fallen for his provocation. Their Dragon Emperor escort agency practiced the Great Quick Blade. This blade technique only sought extreme speed, even faster than the naked eye. However, Long Ao was still somewhat disdainful in his heart. He did not want to make the first move. Instead, he held on to the hilt of his blade and said to Li Fan, "I became famous earlier than you. You can make the first move." Long Ao looked at Li Fan arrogantly, quietly waiting for Li Fan to make his move and then slash him in half. "Have you thought it through?" Li Fan said. At this time, this brother still did not forget to act cool. "Come, I'll let you know what a real escort is." "All right then." Li Fan sighed, "Then I'm sorry." "Come." Dragon Emperor did not put Li Fan in his eyes at all. This guy did not even dare to accept his provocation previously, and now he still wants to rob the goods. What a joke. Li Fan only took a step forward, but this step seemed to pull out an illusion. Li Fan's body instantly appeared in front of Long Ao. Long Ao's great quick blade had also been trained to perfection. When he saw Li Fan's afterimage, he immediately shook his wrist and pulled out his saber at lightning speed. However, Li Fan extended his hand and pressed down on Long Ao's wrist. Long Ao frowned, but his hand shook. The saber immediately circled around his waist and landed on his left hand. Then, he once again slashed towards Li Fan's neck. Li Fan's movements were even faster. He used Black Tiger climbing the mountain and his elbow heavily struck Long Ao's lower abdomen. After 3 moves in a row, the last one landed on Long Ao's face. Bam! Long Ao was heavily slammed onto the ground by Li Fan's palm, causing the ground to split open. Long Ao did not even have the chance to resist before he was already knocked down. Black smoke came out from the ground, and Long Ao was knocked into a daze. Dragon Emperor's escort agency, I wonder who the trash is. Li Fan curled his lips, where's the arrogance from before? Long Ao struggled to get up. His eyes were a little dizzy, and his mind seemed to be a little unclear. He was not lightly beaten by Li Fan. Junhua, take the gold bar. Li Fan instructed Qin Junhua to lift the treasure chest. Dragon Emperor was originally half kneeling there, but when he saw this scene, his eyes immediately turned red and he suddenly jumped up. Let go. Long Ao brought along a gust of wind as he suddenly leaped towards Qin Junhua. At the same time, he grabbed the quick saber with both hands and slashed towards Qin Junhua's head. Saber light flashed. A saber light flashed in front of Qin Junhua's eyes, causing him to subconsciously close his eyes. Chapter 836. Qin Junhua subconsciously closed his eyes, but his ears were not deaf. Listening to the wind to determine the position was also a fighting method of the martial artists. But sometimes, hearing could also be deceiving. Long Ao's saber trembled, emitting bursts of buzzing sound that reverberated in all directions, interfering with Qin Junhua's hearing. He had already appeared in front of Qin Junhua, his saber going straight for the other party's throat, ready to kill Qin Junhua and take back his darts. Although he had just eaten a move from Li Fan, at this moment, Long Ao's mind was very clear. As an escort, the darts could not be lost. Qin Junhua did not like to talk too much. He closed his eyes and waved the big sword in his hand. Qin Junhua's swordsmanship was simple and unadorned. It did not look gorgeous, but it was hidden with murderous intent. Long Ao sneered. He could not find him at all. What was the use of waving the big sword randomly? This saber would definitely take his life. Long Ao's body shifted in the air and was already behind Qin Junhua. At the same time, a quick saber slashed at the back of Qin Junhua's neck. But Qin Junhua turned around and slashed with his sword. That heavy and edgeless big sword directly knocked away Long Ao's quick saber. Long Ao was shocked, and his body suddenly fell to the ground. Qin Junhua's big sword brushed past his shoulder and stabbed out. Long Ao's shoulder was torn apart, but he did not dare to stop at all. With the force of the roll, his whole body suddenly shot out and jumped into the forest at the side. He actually ran away. Li Fan curled his lips. When he was protecting the darts just now, I still had some admiration for him. I did not expect him to actually run away in the end. Where there's life, there's hope. Qin Junhua put away his big sword and kicked open the metal box. There were 10 gold bars inside, which were the goods they were going to deliver this time. Who cares, we got the thing, let's go. The Golden Darts convention this time was quite interesting. Li Fan also wanted to know which 10 teams would reach City A in the end. But Li Fan had just taken 2 steps when he suddenly turned around and glanced at the forest at the side. You have been following for so long, why don't you come out and say something? You've discovered me again. Cheng Mo-hun slowly walked out of the darkness, wearing a tight black suit. She looked at Li Fan with resentment in her eyes. I thought I could succeed. You learned some ninjutsu from the ninjas, but you didn't hide your aura well. Li Fan said, just this little bit of aura, you can feel it just by taking a breath. It's not that exaggerated. Cheng Mo-hun put her hands on her hips and looked at Li Fan. She tilted her head and said, but you're in trouble now. You probably don't have time to care about me. Trouble? What trouble? Li Fan raised his eyebrows. You have provoked Long Ao. He will definitely go back to the Dragon Emperor Escort Agency to seek revenge. When have I, little tyrant, ever been afraid of trouble? Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. Am I popular now? The whole world wants to ban my escort agency. Are you just going to throw caution to the wind? Yes, I'm doing it righteously. Li Fan waved his hand. As for the rest, let them be. Since I've been discovered by you, there's no point in me staying here. Cheng Mo-hun took 2 steps back. But remember, your trouble has just begun. After saying that, Cheng Mo-hun slowly disappeared into the darkness, hiding her figure. It seems like the journey will not be peaceful. Chen Junhua picked up the box with one hand. Don't be afraid. You're welcome to snatch it. Li Fan smiled. The more people come to snatch it, the more we can show our ability. It's not easy to open an escort agency. I have to make a name for myself. Chen Junhua didn't care too much. He silently followed behind Li Fan. Because there was no transportation, the 2 of them could only choose to walk. But thanks to their excellent qigong, the journey was quite fast. When the sky brightened, Li Fan just happened to walk to a roadside stall. This roadside stall sold steamed buns and porridge. Many escorts were already sitting there, eating breakfast. Seeing Li Fan and the rest coming over, many escorts turned their heads and glanced at this little tyrant. We've walked for quite a while. I'm a little hungry. Li Fan rubbed his stomach and directly sat in front of a table. Boss, give me 4 trays of steamed buns and 2 bowls of porridge. All right. The stall owner brought 4 trays of steamed buns to Li Fan. Li Fan seemed to be a little hungry. He picked up the steamed buns and stuffed them into his mouth. Chen Junhua's table manners were much better than Li Fan's. At the same time, he secretly observed the people around him. Almost everyone here was an escort from an escort agency. There were people from different escort agencies, big and small. The 4 big escort agencies weren't here, but most of the people from the 8 small escort agencies were here. Jiang Feng wasn't here. He should have gotten the goods and gone far away. Li Fan and the rest were eating steamed buns. At this moment, a sturdy escort picked up a shield and a long saber and slowly walked over. The shield and saber technique was also a martial art of China. In the past, this martial art was learned by soldiers in the army. Later on, it spread to the pugilistic world. After a series of improvements, it became the modern shield and saber technique. Many escorts liked this shield and saber technique. It was very useful for both offense and defense. Little tyrant, you're Li Fan, right? The sturdy man held a leather shield in one hand and a fish head saber in the other. He stood beside Li Fan. This man was tall, almost 2 meters. His clothes had the words Springlight written on it. Springlight Escort Agency. It seemed to be a small escort agency. Li Fan had never heard of it. Stop eating. Put down the food and get lost. What's wrong? Why are all kinds of people here? Li Fan drank a mouthful of porridge. Don't you find it annoying? You're courting death. The sturdy man's fish head saber slashed down on the table. The table broke into two. Li Fan and his chair slid back more than 2 meters. Chen Junhua stood up and unsheathed his sword at any time. Let me do it. Li Fan stuffed a bun into his mouth and wiped his hands. Okay. Chen Junhua nodded and took 2 steps back. The sturdy man swung the fish head saber horizontally at Li Fan. Li Fan raised his leg and kicked the sturdy man's wrist. At the same time, he took a step forward and turned around to kick the sturdy man's head. The burly man's body flew out and smashed a table behind him. All the escorts stood up together and pulled out their weapons. They stared at Li Fan like a tiger watching its prey. What? You all want to rob me? Li Fan stretched out his hand. The leather shield and the fish head saber flew up and fell into his hands. Come on, I just finished my meal. I'll accompany you to exercise. As soon as Li Fan's voice fell, the escorts in front of him immediately pounced on him. An escort rushed in front of Li Fan and was knocked to the ground by Li Fan's leather shield. At the same time, he stabbed the saber into the escort's chest without any mercy. Chapter 837. Li Fan beheaded an escort with 1 slash, and another escort had already rushed over from behind. He held 2 butterfly knives in his hands and stabbed towards Li Fan's waist. Li Fan did not even turn his head as he swung his knife behind him, and the escort's head flew off. The current little tyrant was like a god of war, and his shield and knife techniques were displayed to the extreme. He did not retreat, but instead advanced, charging into the crowd, and with each slash, he beheaded an escort. The shield in his left hand was not idle either. This shield was not used for defense, but to knock the other escorts to the ground. Li Fan did not need to defend at all, the shield and knife were his weapons. He slowly moved, attacking left and right, knocking the enemy over time and time again. Li Fan did not show any mercy. Since these escorts dared to rob his escorts, they were naturally prepared to die. When Li Fan split the 13th escort in half, the other escorts finally gave in. A group of escorts circled around Li Fan with weapons in their hands. They looked like tigers eyeing their prey, but no one dared to step forward. If they stepped forward, they would die. This Li Fan was like a fiend. After fighting for so long, there was not even a wound on his body. What a freak. Everyone looked at Li Fan. Some were in awe, some hated, and some were envious. But at this moment, Li Fan was everyone's enemy. He must die here. The escorts all took out their hidden weapons and threw them at Li Fan. Swallow darts, meteor hammers, and all sorts of things were thrown at Li Fan. Li Fan didn't even move, but the true qi in his body burst out. 3,000 worlds. All the hidden weapons were stuck in the air, as if they were frozen, motionless. Li Fan's true qi locked onto all the hidden weapons, preventing them from approaching his body. This inner qi was not something a young man should have. Stand down. Li Fan shook his true qi, all the concealed weapons immediately flew out and hit the bodies of those armed escorts. The armed escorts screamed miserably as they were sent flying and fell to the ground. The hidden weapons pierced through the bodies of these escorts and struck the surrounding houses, bringing with them dark red blood. Li Fan stood there alone, surrounded by a group of bodyguards. Chen Junhua stood not far away, his eyes filled with infatuation. He was intoxicated by this power. Everyone was about the same age, so why couldn't he reach Li Fan's level? If you want to rob someone next time, remember to find a few powerful people. As Li Fan spoke, he dispersed the true qi on his body, threw away the shield blade, and walked back to Junhua's side. The two of them returned to the roadside stall. The stall owner was so scared that he peed his pants. There were corpses all over the ground. "Boss, give me 4 more trays of buns." Li Fan shouted, "I just exercised, and I'm hungry again." Okay. The stall owner did not dare to say anything and fearfully brought Li Fan a new batch of hot buns. On the ground beside them, Li Fan and Junhua acted as if nothing had happened and just sat there eating the buns. The two of them ate and chatted while the box of gold bars was placed on the side. No one could touch the metal box. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, Li Fan continued on his journey. The journey was not too peaceful. Even some small escort agencies dared to come together to rob Li Fan's things, which made him want to laugh. It seemed like in their hearts, Fictional escort agency was still not ranked. Today, he would let them know how powerful Fictional escort agency was. At 3 a.m. in the morning, the sky was still dark. Li Fan and the others had already transported the box to a logistics company in a city. This was a company opened by Jin Jia. The place was very big and spacious. When Li Fan and the others walked in, they found that Jiang Feng and Jin Zhou were already there. "Ha, brother, you're finally here." Jin Zhou stepped forward and patted Li Fan's shoulder. "It's been hard on you." "It's all right. I can still hold on." Li Fan looked around and found that the people from the 4 major escort agencies were here. Even Long Ao stepped on a metal box and looked at Li Fan coldly. After Long Ao ran away, it was unknown where he had snatched a box and brought it back. The people from Wind Cloud Escort Agency and God of Wealth Escort Agency were also standing on both sides. Other than him and Jiang Feng, no one from the 8 small escort agencies entered. There were still 4 teams left, and no one knew when they would come. "They won't be coming." Jiang Feng seemed to have seen through Li Fan's speculation. He whispered to Li Fan, "The person from Wind Cloud Escort Agency in front of you has already snatched the remaining gold bars." "What the?" Li Fan could not help but curse. This was even more domineering than him. The winter solstice was probably the day of bloodshed. The death rate of this Golden Darts conference was too high. In order to gain fame, the small escort agencies from all over the country worked hard to come to this conference. However, it was not only the 8 small escort agencies. The people from the 4 major escort agencies were also attacking these small escort agencies. Although the Jianghu was vast, there were only so many benefits. The 4 major escort agencies basically monopolized the market. Basically, except for the Jin family's escort agency, the other major escort agencies did not want their subordinate agencies to climb up. Such a high death rate was something they were used to. Being an escort was a profession with a high death rate. All the escorts lived on the edge of a knife. So many people had died, but the others were very calm. Old man Jean had arrived long ago and was standing on the stage. He also looked as if he was used to it. "It seems that everyone is here. There are more people this year than in previous years." Old man Jin's words surprised Li Fan. There were more people this year. It seemed that these golden escorts really climbed up by stepping on corpses. The first round of the conference has come to an end. The real golden escorts will be selected next. Old man Jean chuckled. He stroked his beard and pointed behind him. There was a tall tower behind him. It was about 10 stories tall. Under the moonlight, Li Fan saw a golden flag hanging on it. This golden flag symbolized the golden escorts. The second round of the conference will follow the same rules. When the gong is rung, you can fight for the golden escort flag. Whoever can obtain the golden escort flag and hold it for a minute will be the golden escort. Wasn't this a free-for-all fight? This round, the three of us will see the results. Jin Zhou seemed to have been waiting for this moment for a long time. Both of you, don't show any mercy. Don't worry, big brother. I will do my best. Jiang Feng cupped his fists. Li Fan nodded. This year's golden escort flag was his. The other escort agencies were fine, but the Dragon Emperor escort agency only had Long Ao left. It was very disadvantageous for him. However, Long Ao seemed to want to fight for the golden escort flag. This was the highest symbol of an escort agency. Chapter 838. All the escorts looked at the golden escort flag at the same time. A tower that was more than 30 meters tall was nothing to Qinggong experts like them. The height wasn't a problem. The problem was the surrounding peers who were eyeing them covetously. Li Fan looked at the escorts around him. He didn't know why, but his blood flowed slightly faster. He hadn't felt this way for a long time. With Li Fan's strength, he rarely met an expert who was on par with him. But it was different here. Many of the escorts were indeed good, and there were experts like Jin Zhou and Jiang Feng. His heart couldn't help but beat faster. Dang! Old Master Jin personally sounded the gong, and the sound spread throughout the open space. Almost at the same time, all the escorts started to move. The two escorts from the Wind Cloud Escort Agency seemed to cooperate very well. Both of them were wearing white clothes. They borrowed each other's strength and quickly approached the tower above their heads. Long Ao also quickly jumped over, quickly approaching the tower. But the two escorts from the Wind Cloud Escort Agency suddenly turned around. Both of them had hooked claws in their hands and attacked Long Ao. Both of them were experts who had reached the pinnacle of perfection. Long Ao was also at the pinnacle of perfection. However, he lacked a helper at the moment. Moreover, he had suffered a serious injury. It was indeed a little difficult to deal with two experts who were at the same level as him. But Long Ao also had some means. He didn't choose to confront the two experts from the Wind Cloud Escort Agency directly. Instead, he threw out a hook from his sleeve. The hook hooked onto the tower. Using the hook's strength, Long Ao avoided the siege of the two experts and quickly approached the tower. The people from the God of Wealth Escort Agency also caught up. The two escorts from the God of Wealth Escort Agency were wearing expensive golden red clothes. They held a handful of money darts in their hands and threw them at the others. The two of them seemed to be very good at concealed weapons. They threw the money darts in a variety of ways. Li Fan didn't move, but Chen Junhua had already jumped up and was waving his heavy edgeless sword to knock away the money darts. Jiang Feng and Shui Wuxin also started to climb the tower from the west. Both of them were as fast as a gust of wind. Are you still not going up the tower? Jin Zhou's partner had also gone up. He didn't move and just stood beside Li Fan and asked. What's the rush? We can reach this tower in 2 or 3 steps. Li Fan said, let's wait and see. Third brother and I are thinking the same thing. Jin Zhou saw that Long Ao was already close to the top of the pagoda, and finally couldn't sit still. It's almost time, I will go up first. As he spoke, Jin Zhou leaped up to a height of more than 5 meters and quickly approached the top of the tower. When the people from the God of Fortune Escort Agency saw Jin Zhou, they immediately came to stop him. Jin Zhou's partner ignored the two and climbed up the tower from the other side. Jin Zhou faced the two Wind Cloud Escort Agency's experts by himself. He threw a punch at the incoming coin darts. Bang! The fist aura exploded, and the coin darts were immediately sent flying. Not only that, but the air in front of him also seemed to have been torn apart, and a spiderweb of cracks also appeared on the tower. Such a fist technique was indeed powerful. Li Fan's eyes lit up. No wonder he was called the next generation's gold-ranked escort. Jin Zhou's strength was very domineering. Long Ao and Shui Wuxin were the first to encounter each other at the top of the tower. Long Ao immediately took out his fast saber and wanted to directly slash this beauty. But Shui Wuxin was not to be trifled with. She took out her sword and blocked Long Ao's fast saber. With a danged sound, Long Ao took a step back and fell to the edge of the tower. Shui Wuxin also flew back a meter and was supported by Jiang Feng. Big brother Jiang, as soon as Shui Wuxin approached Jiang Feng, she became gentle. "It's good that you are fine," Jiang Feng said as he took a few steps forward. He also picked up a sword and looked at Long Ao who was opposite him. "I'm sorry, the era of the 4 major escort agencies is over. In your dreams." Long Ao was somewhat angry and uneasy. He quickly approached Jiang Feng and at the same time, slashed his saber towards Jiang Feng's neck. Jiang Feng leaned to the side and easily dodged Long Ao's saber slash. Jiang Feng waved his hand and Murong's sword chi flung out. It instantly formed a crescent moon and slashed at Long Ao's body. One of Long Ao's arms was directly cut off. When Li Fan saw this scene, he could not help but be a little surprised. How could Jiang Feng's Murong sword chi be so fast? Its speed even surpassed Long Ao's saber technique. Sure enough, after the battle with him, Jiang Feng had another breakthrough. Long Ao clutched his severed arm and half knelt on the ground. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He had come all the way here to obtain the final golden dart flag. This was the symbol of a golden escort. It should belong to their Dragon Emperor escort agency. This pride. He would never give up. Long Ao suddenly roared. The true energy in his body completely went berserk. His entire body seemed to be lit up. His true energy was dazzling. Detonation of true energy. Jiang Feng was slightly surprised. This detonation of true energy was similar to a kind of demonic disintegration. It could directly detonate one's true energy, break through the dantian and meridians, ignite oneself, and make oneself stronger in an instant. But it was only for an instant. Not long after, the true energy would completely dissipate. Moreover, because the dantian and meridians would be damaged, one would never be able to cultivate again. Li Fan, who was standing under the tower, was also shocked when he saw this scene. He was shocked. He was shocked by the obsession of this Dragon Emperor. In order to obtain the Golden Dart flag, in order to bring honor to his own escort agency, Long Ao could actually do this. Previously, Li Fan thought that Long Ao was just an arrogant guy. But at this moment, he changed his view. On Long Ao's body, there was something that even Li Fan did not have. Slash! Jiang Feng's body was covered with a dazzling light. He quickly arrived in front of Jiang Feng. Then, he suddenly raised his treasured saber, leaving behind an afterimage. Pooh! Jiang Feng was unable to completely dodge it. The hair on his temples was cut off. And on his cheek, a trace of blood appeared. Jiang Feng's heart was slightly perturbed. After this guy exploded his true energy, it was somewhat troublesome. He might really injure himself. Bastard! You actually injured my big brother Jiang. Shui Wuxin was enraged. She raised her treasured sword and directly stabbed towards Long Ao. Roar! Long Ao roared. His body erupted with countless saber auras, exploding all over the screen. Shui Wuxin's body received the impact, and she was directly sent flying. Her clothes were cut by the saber auras. Her body was also cut with many wounds, and blood flowed out. Shui Wuxin fell down the tower. Jiang Feng did not care about her. Instead, he took the opportunity to step forward and directly poked Long Ao's chest with 2 fingers. Long Ao spat out a mouthful of blood. The light on his body slowly faded, and his eyes began to dim. Li Fan stretched out his arms and directly caught Shui Wuxin from below. The warm and fragrant soft jade entered his arms. A wave of fragrance first floated into Li Fan's nose. You put me down. Chapter 839. Shui Wuxin angrily glared at Li Fan. As soon as Li Fan loosened his grip, Shui Wuxin directly fell to the ground, feeling a sharp pain in her butt. You bastard. Shui Wuxin rubbed her butt while climbing up, angrily looked at Li Fan. Why did you throw me? Didn't you tell me to put you down? Li Fan looked at Shui Wuxin and seriously said. You bastard. You really are a super bastard. Shui Wuxin stood up, picked up a sword from the nearby shelf, and was about to rush to the pagoda. Li Fan pulled her back. What are you doing? I'm going to protect Big Brother Jiang. You're already like this, but you still want to protect Big Brother Jiang. Li Fan was speechless. As long as I'm not dead, I can protect him. Shui Wuxin said, and was about to jump up using her qigong. But her body was seriously injured by the saber aura, and when she tried to circulate her qi, she directly vomited a mouthful of blood. Idiot! Li Fan swept his leg, sending Shui Wuxin tumbling, and once again held her in his arms. What are you doing? Put me down, bastard. Shui Wuxin was angry again. This bastard, could it be that he wants to take advantage of me? But Li Fan did not utter a word, only holding Shui Wuxin, bent his knees, and half squatted on the ground. A stream of true qi flowed through Li Fan's body and entered his leg. Put me down. You bastard. Put me down. Shui Wuxin struggled a few times, but Li Fan's arms were like iron hoop, she was unable to break free. Put me down, bastard. Shut up. Li Fan coldly snorted, and then his true qi exploded like a bomb, his whole body jumped, and directly jumped 30 meters in the air. This jump was simply beyond the scope of qigong. Shui Wuxin was stunned, but Li Fan had already jumped to the pagoda and put Shui Wuxin down. Awesome! Jin Zhou couldn't help but praise Li Fan when he saw him jump more than 30 meters. His lightning skill was already unparalleled in the world. Jiang Feng glanced at Li Fan, then his gaze fell on Shui Wuxin. Wuxin, are you alright? It's okay, Brother Jiang, Shui Wuxin blushed. I've made Big Brother Jiang worry. I'm relieved that you're fine. Jiang Feng nodded. He held the sword and looked to the left. 2 escorts from the Wind and Cloud escorts jumped up. On the right, the 2 masters of the God of Wealth escort agency also jumped up. Chen Junhua and Jin Zhou's partner stood at the side, one carrying a great sword and the other carrying a sword shield. There are so many experts this year. Old Master Jintong said with a smile as he looked at the scenery above. There are indeed a lot of experts. That's Chen Junhua from Mount Hua and Shui Wuxin from Mount Tai. Next to him, a person who looked like a counselor wrapped his cotton-padded clothes a little tighter. There's also Jiang Feng from Murong Villa and Little Tyrant Li Fan. They are all outstanding young heroes. Jintong's eyes were filled with admiration. But compared to young master, they are still lacking. Jin Zhou. I hope he won't disappoint me. Jintong kept his hands in his sleeves as he looked at the tall tower above him. He was very interested in this competition. The golden dart flag was planted there, attracting everyone's attention. I'm sorry everyone. Today, our Wind and Cloud escort agency will accept this golden dart flag. The two escorts from the Wind and Cloud Escort Agency raised their iron claws and pointed at Li Fan and the rest. If you want to live, then step down. Haha, there's no need to be sorry. Because the two of you won't get anything. Jin Zhou cupped his hands. Brothers, the golden dart flag still belongs to our Jin family. Old Master Jin is indeed capable, but you are nothing. The two escorts from the Wind and Cloud Escort Agency said coldly, today is the day you die. In the Jianghu, all relationships were useless. Even if Jin Zhou was Old Master Jin's son, it was still meaningless. For the Golden Dart flag, he could give up everything. The people from the God of Fortune Escort Agency did not intend to make a move. It seemed like they wanted to watch the show. The two escorts from the Wind and Cloud Escort Agency had already rushed over. The two of them waved their iron claws and instantly approached Jin Zhou. As for Jin Zhou, he stood there, his feet in a horse stance, and simply threw out a punch. Bang! The true energy violently compressed and the fist aura burst out. The clothes of the two escorts from the Wind and Cloud Escort Agency were completely shredded. Then, they were sent flying by the true energy and finally fell out of the tower. Jin Zhou's strength crushed the two of them. Li Fan wanted to clap his hands. As expected of Jin Zhou, his strength was indeed superb. Only this kind of expert could arouse his interest in fighting. The two escorts from the God of Fortune Escort Agency actually had the intention to retreat. This fighting strength was simply not on the same level. Junhua, help me with the formation. This punch had already made Li Fan's blood boil. He instructed Chen Junhua and walked forward. Wu Xin, you just watch. Don't casually make a move. Jiang Feng also took off his coat and walked towards them. The three of them faced each other and looked at each other. The three of us are finally going to fight. Jin Zhou was also very excited. That's great. Don't hold back. As he said that, the true energy on his body shook and his coat was directly torn, revealing the strong body inside. Then I won't hold back. Jiang Feng raised his sword. The sword was wrapped with strong true energy. The three of them began to gather their true energy. At this moment, the two escorts from the God of Fortune Escort Agency looked at each other. Then, their bodies flashed and the two people suddenly appeared beside the three of them, preparing to make a sneak attack. Get lost. Li Fan and Jiang Feng attacked at the same time. The battle between the three of them did not allow for others to intervene. Jiang Feng's two fingers stabbed into the forehead of one of the escorts from the God of Fortune Escort Agency, while Li Fan's palm smashed the chest of the other escort. The two escorts were killed at the same time. It was done quickly and cleanly without leaving any traces. This way, other than the three escorts, there were no other outsiders. There are no outsiders to disturb us. Let's begin. Li Fan moved his shoulders. Good. Let me first say that my martial art is the improved Jin family fist technique. Jin Zhou introduced, after fusing with the fist technique of Japan, my fist aura can strongly compress true energy. So you guys have to be careful. Then let me also say that I practice Murong sword chi and 12 pressure point hands. Jiang Feng held his sword in one hand and held two fingers in the other. However, I also have the ability of heart and demon unity. I know. Jin Zhou nodded. I have already heard about it in Jianghu. He looked at Li Fan. Third brother, you should be practicing the Fist of 7 Heroes, right? Yes, I'm practicing Fist of 7 Heroes and the upgraded version of Fist of 7 Brilliance. Chapter 840. 7 Brilliance Fist. Hearing this, Jin Zhou and Jiang Feng were both shocked. They did not know what martial art it was. But from what Li Fan said, it seemed to be the upgraded version of the Seven Heroes Fist. The Seven Heroes Fist was already in the top 10 of the pugilistic world's divine martial art. Wouldn't the upgraded version of the Seven Brilliance Fist be even more powerful? Li Fan still had a trump card and did not reveal his Qilin Palm and True Dragon Hand. True Dragon Palm was what Li Fan called his new right hand. Because of his powerful control of True Qi, Li Fan made up this name. Between the three of them was Jin Dao Flag, but no one made the first move. They were all waiting for the other to reveal an opening. In a fight between experts, a single mistake could become a fatal flaw. Let me start first. Jin Zhou seemed to be a little impatient. His blood was boiling, and he only wanted to fight. Jin Zhou's body exploded with strong True Qi. His arms became slightly thicker, and he punched at Li Fan and Jiang Feng. The fist aura of the Jin family's fist technique was extremely overbearing. Even Jiang Feng did not dare to face it head-on. His feet seemed to be stepping on a lotus. His whole body moved a few steps to the side, barely dodging the fist aura. The place where he had just been standing had a huge crater. Li Fan did not dodge. He wanted to see how powerful Jin Zhou's fist aura was. Li Fan circulated the True Qi in his body. The god of war condensed into a golden armor and covered Li Fan's body. His arms shook in front of him, and he used his body to block the fist aura. Bang! Li Fan's body shook violently. He felt as if a train had hit him. He rooted his feet, and the True Qi in his body surged, continuously dispelling Jin Zhou's fist aura. This skill of dispelling True Qi was a Tai Chi skill that Li Fan learned from Yan Kai. He could use his legs to divert the force from his legs to his feet, and then through his feet to the ground. Li Fan suffered part of the fist aura, and his internal organs were affected. The other part was diverted to the tower under his feet. Bang! 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 The tower kept emitting muffled sounds, as if it had received a strong impact. After a series of punches, Li Fan was still standing there, but his golden armor kept emitting black mist. Beautiful. Jin Zhou couldn't help but be excited. There was actually someone who could face his fist head-on. This was too exciting. Come, take 3 more punches from me. As Jin Zhou spoke, his fists trembled, and he was about to throw out another 3 punches. Li Fan almost cursed it out loud. Fuck you, you still want to hit me 3 more times. However, Li Fan's temper flared up. Isn't it just 3 punches? I'm not afraid of anyone. Li Fan directly entered the abnormality bone swap state. His body suddenly expanded, and his shirt was directly torn apart. A picture of an overlord subduing a tiger appeared on Li Fan's bare back, looking majestic. Take my fist. Jin Zhou threw 3 consecutive punches at Li Fan. But this time, Li Fan did not use his body to take it head-on. He raised his right hand and poured his True Qi into his palm. This True Qi condensed into the shape of an armor, covering Li Fan's right arm, but it was not very clear. Facing Jin Zhou's punches, Li Fan's True Dragon Hand slapped out. Dang! A sound of an explosion rang out in the air, and Li Fan's palm emitted black smoke. Dang, dang! Another 2 sounds rang out. Li Fan's palm paused, and his body also slid back 2 meters, landing on the edge of the tower. Li Fan stood there, with some black smoke on his body. Obviously, he had received quite a bit of impact. Great, this is great. Jin Zhou was so excited that he was about to explode. To be able to block 3 of his punches in a row, this is interesting. Jiang Feng suddenly appeared behind Li Fan, and 2 fingers struck at Li Fan's temples. This kind of opportunity, he absolutely will not miss it. But Li Fan did not even turn his head. A great war god popped out from his back and slapped Jiang Feng's body. Jiang Feng raised his sword and placed it in front of him, blocking the great war god's slap. Bam! Jiang Feng's body was still sent flying. He immediately stabbed his sword into the top of the tower, stabilizing his body. This move was like swatting a fly. Li Fan used it every time. Jin Zhou once again walked in front of Li Fan, and with an uppercut, he aimed at Li Fan's chin. Li Fan stretched out both of his hands, trying to block Jin Zhou's punch. Bam! Another heavy sound rang out, and Li Fan's hands were forcibly broken. Jin Zhou's fist landed on Li Fan's chin. Li Fan's body was sent flying, and Jin Zhou had already jumped into the air, preparing to give Li Fan another heavy punch. Li Fan was unable to borrow strength in the air, but he was very calm. He immediately stretched out his left hand, and with a spirit snake entanglement, he coiled around Jin Zhou's fist and locked it on his arm. What? Jin Zhou was a little surprised. What kind of martial art is this? Like a spirit snake, is it the Seven Heroes' Fist? Dragon Crushing Hand. Li Fan's 4 fingers were placed on Jin Zhou's chest, and with a 1-inch punch, the 4 fingers hit Jin Zhou's chest at the same time. Puff! Jin Zhou spat out a mouthful of bitter water, and his entire body was sent flying by Li Fan's move. Although Jin Zhou's body was sturdy, Li Fan's move directly used true qi to enter his internal organs, and the damage was quite strong. He flew out, and with a turn in the air, he unloaded Li Fan's strength and landed on top of the water tower. Jiang Feng once again took advantage, and his sword sheath swept towards Jin Zhou. Break! Jin Zhou turned around and punched, using the fist aura to shatter Jiang Feng's sword qi. Brother Jiang, although your sword qi is fast, it is still lacking. Jin Zhou turned his head and said to Jiang Feng, don't hide anymore, quickly use your full strength. Since I was scolded by Big Brother, then I can't continue to hide anymore. Jiang Feng nodded, and gave Shui Wuxin a look. Shui Wuxin nodded, pulled out his own sword, and threw it to Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng held the 2 swords in his hands, and waved both of his hands, crazily releasing sword qi towards Jin Zhou. That's right. In the Jianghu, very few people could use dual swords. It was very difficult for a normal person to do 2 things at once. Moreover, the attacks of both hands had a pattern, and if they were to be used at the same time, it would be very easy to be countered. To master dual swords, one must be like in the novels, and master the so-called left and right mutual combat. When he could separate his hands to do different things, he would be able to master the dual sword style. However, this method was too time-consuming, so it was better to focus on one hand, and it would be faster to practice the sword this way. But the current Jiang Feng could easily use dual swords, and the sword qi on the 2 swords swept and slashed, without any pattern to speak of. Jin Zhou used the fist aura to block, but he was unable to deal with such dense sword qi, and was actually showing signs of losing. Chapter 841. Facing such a large amount of sword qi, Jin Zhou was at a disadvantage. Jiang Feng's attack was like a storm. The sword qi covered the sky and the earth, crazily attacking Jin Zhou. Although Jin Zhou was struggling, his expression was calm, giving off the demeanor of an expert. Let him be strong, the cool breeze caresses the hill. Let him be strong, the bright moon illuminates the great river. However, Jiang Feng's sword qi was getting faster and faster, becoming more and more frenzied. Soon, Jin Zhou was unable to block it, and a few wounds appeared on his body. However, Jin Zhou was not afraid at all. Instead, he laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha, good. Blue and white true qi suddenly appeared on Jin Zhou's body, condensing into a coat. Condensing Chi. Li Fan was surprised. He did not expect Brother Jean to also know this move. This move was the special skill of the 12 sages of the Dragon Hole. Now that Jean Zhou used it, it did not seem out of place. Condensing Chi. Clearly, Jiang Feng also knew this move. His eyes began to slowly emit a red glow, as if it was a sign of heart and demon unification. Jean Zhou blocked the sword Qi as he walked toward Jiang Feng. Soon, the two of them clashed. Jiang Feng's two swords were wrapped in sword Qi, clashing with Jean Zhou's fists. "You too, don't forget me." As Li Fan spoke, he leaped up, jumped over, and directly joined the battle. Li Fan used his palm technique, and the three of them began fighting. A cyclone kept spinning around the three of them, forming a huge vortex of true Qi. The others could not get close, and the three of them seemed to have become the center of hell. These two youngsters are actually able to compete with young master. The advisor stood below, watching the scene on the tall tower, and could not help but feel surprised. There is always someone better. On the other hand, old master Jin Tong was extremely calm. Only opponents of the same level can make the golden boat stronger. The battle between the three of them became more and more intense, and they were almost evenly matched. Jin Zhou's blood seemed to be boiling. He laughed loudly, then raised his right fist. "My two brothers, you must survive." A huge true Qi suddenly compressed towards Jin Zhou's fist. Even Li Fan and Jiang Feng felt a terrifying pressure. Both of them raised their swords to protect themselves. The other raised his arm, and golden armor covered his body. Both of them were in a defensive stance. World-conquering fist. Jin Zhou, with an inexhaustible domineering aura, punched heavily at his feet. The fist aura spread out rapidly, and Li Fan and Jiang Feng were sent flying at the same time. Jin Zhou's punch actually destroyed the 30-meter-tall tower. The tower began to collapse bit by bit, and both Li Fan and Jiang Feng suffered some injuries. Jiang Feng was protected by Shui Wuxin as the two of them floated down to the ground. Meanwhile, Li Fan continued to step on the falling gravel and slowly approached the ground. Chen Junhua didn't have any problems either. He used his qinggong to descend. Jin Zhou's body continued to fall towards the ground. His entire body was falling, and his fist was still glowing with a golden light. Jin Zhou looked as though he was about to throw another punch. Li Fan and Jiang Feng, who had just landed on the ground, saw what was happening. Both of them grew anxious. Jin Zhou's fist was too overbearing. If they took another punch, the two of them might not be able to withstand it. "Come on," however, Li Fan's blood quickly boiled. Jin Zhou's strength was very strong, and his fist technique was overbearing. It was suitable for him to fight with him. He quickly gathered his true Qi and gathered it on his left hand. Li Fan's right hand was affected by the aberration bone-changing technique. It began to mutate, becoming like a beast's claw. Qilin Palm was ready to be unleashed. The true Qi in Li Fan's body boiled as it rushed out from the pores of his body and spewed outwards like a steam engine. Li Fan's heart was also like a high-speed motor, beating very quickly, accelerating the flow of blood and true Qi in his body. Jiang Feng also couldn't bear it anymore. If he retreated now, then he would no longer have any status in the pugilistic world. He raised both of his swords and roared. The black and red innate Qi immediately wrapped around his body, causing him to become eerie and sinister. True unparalleled swift slash. Jiang Feng swung both of his swords, bringing forth a black and red whirlwind. This whirlwind moved towards Li Fan and Jin Zhou. Li Fan and Jin Zhou had no time to care about the whirlwind. Their fists and palms collided. Overlord Fist. Qilin Palm. the two strengths collided. Jin Zhou's domineering aura collided with Li Fan's ice and fire power. They were evenly matched. The surrounding ground also collapsed, and the power was still spreading outwards. At the same time, Jiang Feng's black and red sword Qi Whirlwind also arrived. Li Fan separated his right hand, which was wrapped in light gold armor, and blocked the sword Qi Whirlwind. This way, it was equivalent to Li Fan fighting against two people's moves at the same time. However, Li Fan secretly circulated the Tai Chi technique that he learned from Yan Kai. He extracted the two people's strength, and then exchanged it to attack the opponent. This way, Li Fan only needed to use a little bit of strength to deal with two people's attacks at the same time. This kind of trick was unexpectedly not discovered for a while. Jin Zhou and Jiang Feng felt that their strength was like a clay ox entering the sea, and then from Li Fan's body came a steady stream of powerful strength to fight against them. This Li Fan's internal strength was actually unfathomable. One person fighting against two experts, Jin Zhou and Jiang Feng, were a little unconvinced. Condensing Qi. Second level. Jin Zhou roared, and the blue and white radiance on his body slowly turned golden. His hair stood on end, just like a Super Saiyan, and his strength doubled again. Jiang Feng's eyes turned blood red, and his true qi turned scarlet. The whirlwind became even stronger, and attacked Li Fan's right palm. However, they quickly discovered that the resistance from Li Fan's body was also stronger. It was as if no matter how high the two of them increased their strength, Li Fan would be able to withstand it. This Li Fan, how strong is he? Wrong. Jiang Feng suddenly understood, this is Tai Chi technique. Being reminded by Jiang Feng, Jin Zhou also came to a realization. Good kid, good move. Jin Zhou laughed angrily, I was wondering how you could block my second attack. Second level of condensing qi is indeed frighteningly strong. And Jiang Feng's heart and demon unity is also extremely strong. Li Fan pushed with both hands, sending the two flying, and at the same time he took 2 steps back. Two big brothers, then I will use my true ability. Li Fan said, and raised his true qi, and poured it into the top of his head. Great War God appeared behind him, golden in color, wearing a dazzling golden armor. This great war god slowly shrunk, and condensed on Li Fan's body. Divine Dragon General. Li Fan activated his strongest state, and his eyes emitted a golden radiance. Chapter 842. Jiang Feng and Jin Zhou were not the only ones who were shocked by Li Fan's powerful aura. Even Elder Jin Tong was shocked. This young man was actually so powerful. He had just turned 20 years old, but his qi was already stronger than his son's. Jin Zhou had a fortuitous encounter that gave him the strength he had today. What kind of fortuitous encounter did this young man have? Jin Tong looked at Li Fan, who was covered in golden qi, with a deep look in his eyes. This year's golden dart flag would not easily fall into his family's hands. Third brother, your aura alone is amazing. Jin Zhou looked at Li Fan, who was standing there like a god. What kind of kung fu are you practicing, Fist of 7 Heroes? Li Fan said, when I reach the 7th level, I can activate this state. I have to say, your Fist of 7 Heroes is really powerful. Jiang Feng could not help but praise. If there's a next life, maybe we can really be brothers. Jiang Feng admired Li Fan from the bottom of his heart. Although this young man had borrowed some of the power of the Murong family, he had relied more on his own strength to get to this stage. His self-created martial art actually managed to enter the top 10 of the Divine Skill Manual one day. This was already a very impressive thing. His only family passed down the 12 acupoints hand, but it did not advance to the level of Fist of 7 Heroes. Now, he was relying on the Murong family's swordsmanship. It was too embarrassing. But no matter what method he used, he had to climb to the top and become a real dragon among men. The Alliance Master of the martial arts tournament this time would definitely be him. If you two brothers want to learn, you can join the 7 heroes. Oh. Third brother, are you preparing to open a martial arts school? Jin Zhou asked immediately. Yes, that's the idea. Li Fan had always wanted to pass down the fist of 7 heroes. Although he had a disciple, Lu Xiaohu, it was far from enough to promote his martial arts. Spreading branches and leaves, not bad. If third younger brother needs help as his big brother, I will definitely support him. However, I'm your big brother. How can I be your disciple? Chen Junhua and the others were about to vomit blood. The true qi on the bodies of these 3 people had already risen to the extreme. It was as if they could ignite a nuclear bomb at any time, but in the end, they were still chatting. I only have one thought. Once I take over the position of the world's #1 martial arts alliance master, I will open a martial arts dojo. When Li Fan said this, he was very confident. Third brother, let's take down the golden dart flag first. As Jiang Feng spoke, he carried his 2 swords and appeared behind Li Fan in a strange lotus pattern. Li Fan immediately turned around, but Jiang Feng was like a king of Qin circling around a pillar. He circled behind Li Fan and swung his 2 swords towards Li Fan's back. Jiang Feng was very confident in his lotus pattern. This was a pattern that he had comprehended in front of a lotus pond after thinking about it for a long time. However, Li Fan leaned back and his elbow heavily hit Jiang Feng's chest. Iron Mountain Lean. Jiang Feng felt a pain in his abdomen. His 2 swords that were about to attack also stopped. However, this was only Li Fan's first attack. His strongest combat power was his continuous attacks. Subdue the bear. Li Fan leaned back and his entire body leaned forward. Then, he hugged Jiang Feng's waist with both hands. Jiang Feng didn't have time to react. Li Fan had already hugged his waist, lifted him up, and smashed him to the ground in front of him. Dong! Jiang Feng was smashed to the ground. Jin Zhou had already descended from the sky and punched at Li Fan. His fist aura was compressed to the extreme and smashed down like a nuclear bomb. However, when Li Fan raised his head, before Jiang Feng's fist landed, Li Fan's palm had already landed on his shoulder. Fight the tiger. This was Fight the Tiger. The stronger the opponent, the more damage he would suffer. Jin Zhou's strength was obviously not light. His body was sent flying and smashed into a warehouse behind him, raising a large cloud of dust. Li Fan walked over and pulled out the golden dart flag from the ground. He held it in his hand. I'm sorry, we'll take this golden dart flag first. According to the rules, Li Fan had to hold the dart flag for more than 3 minutes to be considered qualified. Jiang Feng jumped up from the ground again. Jin Zhou shook off the gravel on his body and stood up, shaking off the dust on his body. Third brother. Amazing. Jin Zhou's eyes lit up. What kind of martial arts did you use just now? 7 Brilliance Fist. Li Fan stretched out his hand and assumed the starting stance of 7 Brilliance Fist. Interesting. I want to see it. Jin Zhou was very happy to see this fist technique. He had the urge to learn it. He was also a martial arts prodigy. Usually, he could learn a little bit of the martial arts he saw. However, he couldn't see through Li Fan's 7 Brilliance Fist. Every move of the 7 Brilliance Fist looked very simple. However, it contained thousands of variations, making it hard to guess. Second brother. Hand over the flag. Before Jiang Feng could finish his words, he appeared behind Li Fan. Jin Zhou coincidentally coordinated with Jiang Feng. He appeared above Li Fan's head and smashed his fist down on Li Fan. The two experts attacked Li Fan together. It was somewhat troublesome. However, Li Fan released his true qi. He didn't even need to open his eyes to feel the wind blowing around him. The two attacked together. Jiang Feng's two swords and Jin Zhou's fist landed on Li Fan's body. Li Fan's body was directly torn to pieces. However, it was only an afterimage. Monkey play. This movement technique teased the two experts. At the same time, a huge war god appeared behind the two of them. His two palms slapped on the two experts' bodies. War god. This was the condensation of Li Fan's toad transformation. The two of them hit the ground at the same time. However, Jiang Feng's body bounced on the ground. His whole body was upside down. His two swords slashed towards Li Fan's ankles. However, Li Fan threw out his leg and directly kicked Jiang Feng's stomach. Chasing deer. Li Fan almost displayed his seven brilliance fist. Jiang Feng was heavily kicked out. He crashed into a towering ancient tree in the courtyard and flew out. Jin Zhou stood up again. His fist went straight towards Li Fan's cheek. Li Fan's right hand suddenly wrapped around Jin Zhou's arm. Once again, he locked the attack. Li Fan moved forward. He dragged Jin Zhou's body and staggered forward. At the same time, Li Fan's finger hit Jin Zhou's throat. It almost broke through Jin Zhou's true qi and tore his throat apart. Capturing snake. This defensive counterattack caused Jin Zhou to cover his throat and take 2 steps back. Li Fan's 7 brilliance fist was displayed incisively and vividly. Jin Zhou and Jiang Feng were in pain. Chapter 843. The two of them fought for a long time without any results. Instead, they were being suppressed by Li Fan. Li Fan's 7 brilliance fist is too powerful. Jin Zhou and Jiang Feng are unable to take down Li Fan in a short period of time. They can't help but feel anxious. We have to work together. Jiang Feng said to Jin Zhou, time is almost up. We cannot let Li Fan get the golden dart flag. Alright. Although Jin Zhou doesn't like to work together with others, now is not the time to be polite. The two of them quickly closed in on Li Fan. Both of them revolved their strongest true qi, preparing to unleash a wave of attacks. But Li Fan is still standing there. Looking at the two experts pouncing towards him, he doesn't show any fear. He flings the extraordinary sword into the air and floats it above his head. God slaying. Li Fan stretches out 2 fingers of his right hand and presses down on Jin Zhou. A black lightning bolt descends from the sword and strikes down on Jin Zhou's head. Not good. Seeing the power contained in the lightning bolt, Jin Zhou hurriedly stops his footsteps. At the same time, he raises his fist, condenses his true qi, and punches towards the top of his head. Boom! Jin Zhou's fist was actually torn apart. If not for him rolling on the ground and dodging the black lightning bolt, his entire body would have been turned into charcoal. Jiang Feng has already taken the opportunity to arrive in front of Li Fan. The 2 swords in his hands emitted a red radiance as they slashed towards Li Fan. Li Fan presses down with 2 fingers again. Second strike. The second black lightning bolt descends. Jiang Feng hurriedly uses lotus steps, trying to dodge this lightning bolt. But the speed of the lightning bolt is very fast. In a blink of an eye, it has already reached Jiang Feng's forehead. Jiang Feng doesn't dare to delay. He raises both swords and blocks above his head. Bang! The 2 swords are directly cut in half. but it also dissipates a large portion of the lightning bolt's power. The remaining lightning bolt landed on Jiang Feng's body, causing him to lie on the ground with black smoke rising from his body. Third strike. Li Fan pressed both of his hands down at the same time. The treasured sword actually split into two thunderbolts and struck down together. Jiang Feng and Jin Zhou hurriedly endured the pain and attacked at the same time, blocking the third thunderbolt. Fortunately, after the third bolt of lightning was separated, its power was much lighter. Two lightning bolts landed on Jin Zhou and Jiang Feng, causing them to spit out a mouthful of blood at the same time. Li Fan was still standing there, holding the golden flag in his left hand. Clang! With the sound of the gong, the time was up. Everyone stop. Old Master Jin Tong stood up and shouted. This voice was like a clap of thunder from a clear sky, exploding in everyone's ears. Li Fan's body shook violently. He felt a faint ringing in his ears, and his eardrum started to hurt. His vision darkened slightly, and the innate qi condensed in his body also dispersed involuntarily. Incredible, Li Fan couldn't help but glance at old Master Jin Tong. This old man was at least a grandmaster. No wonder he had been a gold-ranked escort for so many years. He was the real deal. Everyone, please get up. Jin Tong waved his hand, and Jiang Feng and Jin Zhou were lifted from the ground. The golden boy's strength was evident. Old Master Jin Tong's inner force is too strong. He's still as strong as before. Some of the onlookers exclaimed in admiration. Jin Zhou took 2 steps forward and stood in front of Li Fan. This year's gold-ranked escort is Li Fan from Phenomenal Escort Agency. He announced Li Fan's name, but none of the people below praised him. Li Fan was the enemy of Murong's family. No one in the Jianghu would dare to let their family escort an escort. Li Fan was like a god of plague. Everyone wanted to stay as far away from him as possible. But today, this man had become a gold-ranked escort. Oh my god, how ironic. A gold-ranked escort that no one dared to use. Li Fan, do you have anything to say? Jin Tong looked at Li Fan politely and asked. Yes, I have something to say. Li Fan didn't stand on ceremony. Alright, go ahead, gold-ranked escort. Jin Tong nodded and patted Li Fan's shoulder. Everyone in the Jianghu, I'm really sorry. Li Fan, this unwelcome guy, has become a gold-ranked escort. Li Fan's voice was wrapped in true qi as he said loudly, everyone should have seen the strength of Phenomenal Escort Agency. I can tell you today. Li Fan, am not afraid of Murong's villa. Who will be escorting an escort in my Phenomenal Escort Agency? Li Fan, will not only guarantee the safety of the escort, but also guarantee that Murong's villa will not dare to provoke you. What makes you say that? A martial fighter could not help but ask. Why? Because of this. Li Fan raised the golden escort flag in his left hand high up. This golden escort flag represents everything. Everyone looked at the golden escort flag and was speechless. This golden escort flag indeed represented everything. Li Fan's status was much nobler now. At least for this year, Li Fan was the boss of the escorts. He could even be said to be the emperor of the escorts. Li Fan, from today onwards, all the escorts in the world will follow your lead. Old Master Jin also said loudly, with the golden escort flag, you can command all the escorts in the world. However, the golden escort flag will be changed every year. Next year, the Golden Escort Convention will be held by your Phenomenal Escort Agency. Yes, this is exactly what I want. Li Fan smiled. From today onwards, every escort agency will have to provide an escort order to our Phenomenal Escort Agency every month. We will choose which order to accept. Otherwise, we will cancel their escort flag. Li Fan's words stunned all the escorts. Was Li Fan crazy? But Jin Zhou laughed heartily. This third younger brother of his really played a ruthless move. He was a gold-ranked escort and had the absolute right to speak. If he cancelled his escort agency, he would not be able to accept any escorts for at least a year. This was a ruthless order. The escorts all looked at Li Fan with some resentment. Even old Master Jin Tong was stunned. He had been a gold-ranked escort for so many years, but he did not know that a gold-ranked escort had such authority. What a... Even Jiang Feng was convinced. Regardless of what would happen in a year, Phenomenal Escort Agency would be able to dominate the entire pugilistic world within a year. This is the gold-ranked escorts, order. Anyone who disobeys can challenge me. I'm not convinced. A burly man jumped out. I'm the head of Justice Escort Agency. Today, I will kill you, you devil. Justice Escort Agency was one of the 8 smaller escort agencies. The head of the escort agency was a dragon among men. The burly man was enraged. He leaped forward and slammed his palm down on Li Fan's head. Li Fan did not move an inch. The god of war appeared behind him and used his dragon-crushing hand to pierce through the burly man's body. Blood gushed out from his back. The god of war raised his right hand, which was still impaled by the burly man's corpse. This friend has failed his challenge. Is there anyone else? Chapter 844. Li Fan's direct hegemony could even be said to be a tyrannical rule. However, his strength and identity were right there. Just now, the head of the Justice Escort Agency had already made an example. Now, who else would dare to challenge Li Fan? Although those powers in the underworld did not dare to do business with Li Fan, but now that Li Fan had asked other escort agencies to do the business for him, it was equivalent to other escort agencies entrusting Extraordinary Escort Agency to do the business. Then the situation was different. Although the escort agencies in the underworld were unwilling to offend Murongbo, they could not disobey the orders of a gold medal escort. Gold medal escort. At this moment, in Murong Villa, Murongbo sneered when he heard the news. Does this brat think that he can go against my Murong Villa? What a joke. Murongbo was wearing a clean and loose martial attire as he sat cross-legged in the training room. Because of the higher-ups, he was currently grounded and could not leave Murong Villa. Jiang Feng was kneeling in front of him, waiting for his order. Let's not talk about this Li Fan. Let's talk about you, Jiang Feng. Murongbo poured himself a cup of hot tea and slowly took a sip. In the past, I thought that you worked hard. But now, you disappoint me more and more. Sorry, Master. Jiang Feng lowered his head with an expressionless face. No one knew what he was thinking. I didn't invest in you to open the World Escort Agency so that you and Li Fan could be sworn brothers. Although he was in the villa, Murongbo's informants were everywhere. Becoming sworn brothers with Li Fan was just to appease him first. Jiang Feng said, wait until I gain his favor and make him let down his guard against me. Then, I will take the opportunity to end his life and remove a worry for you, Master. Although this Li Fan is somewhat annoying, it is not enough for me to worry about him too much. Murongbo held the teacup and said slowly, I, Murongbo, can pinch this little Li Fan to death with just one hand. What I'm worried about is my daughter. She's still thinking about Li Fan. Only by getting rid of Li Fan can she calm down. I will definitely do my best. Jiang Feng begged, on account of disciples' loyalty and devotion, can disciples see little Yi? Oh. Murong put the teacup on the table. It's not the day yet, and you already want to see him. Because I plan to go into seclusion and train hard to reach a strength similar to that of Li Fan. Jiang Feng said, therefore, I want to see little Yi before I go into seclusion. Sure. Murongbo agreed. I, Murongbo, am not the kind of unreasonable person. Before I go into seclusion, I will let you see me. Thank you, Master. Jiang Feng was about to thank him when he was stopped by Murongbo. Don't thank me in a hurry. I have something to say first. Master, please enlighten me. Jiang Feng, although I, Murongbo, am tolerant, I am not willing to indulge you. You have failed so many times. If you do the same next time, I think you should know the consequences. Yes, disciple knows. Jiang Feng hurriedly replied. Okay, then drink this medicine. Murongbo said, threw a pill into the tea and handed it to Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng did not hesitate to pick up the tea and drink it. In less than 5 seconds, he fell on the tea table, unconscious. Murongbo carried Jiang Feng and walked out of the room. Jiang Feng was unconscious for a whole day and night. When he woke up, he found himself in a damp dungeon. There was a water dungeon next to him, and a thin teenager was locked inside. The teenager had been locked up for God knows how long. His skin was extremely pale, and many places were damaged by the water. The teenager was on the verge of death. His hair was scattered in front of his face, covering his face. Little Yi. When Jiang Feng saw him, he was a little excited. He went forward and grabbed the railing. But the teenager was soaked in the water. He did not know if he was asleep or awake. Little Yi, how are you? The teenager did not answer Jiang Feng. Only his light breathing could be heard. Little Yi, don't worry. I will definitely get you out. Jiang Feng bit his lip so hard that blood came out from the corner of his mouth. Bear with it a little more. The teenager still did not speak. Jiang Feng told the teenager a lot of things from the bottom of his heart. This Li Fan is somewhat amazing. If we were both ordinary martial artists, we might become friends. But unfortunately, we can only be enemies. Jiang Feng talked for a long time and seemed to be a little tired. After brother kills him, I will come back to get you out of this dungeon. At that time, I will become the Martial Arts Alliance leader. You will be the Martial Arts Alliance leader's younger brother. Everyone will have to be respectful to you. I want to see who in this pugilistic world dares to bully us brothers. Jiang Feng, time is up. A shout came from outside. Jiang Feng stood up and tidied up his clothes. Little Yi, bear with it for a few more days. I will come back to get you soon. Jiang Feng looked at his younger brother reluctantly. He then took a cup of tea from a jailer and swallowed it. He fainted again and was sent out of this dungeon. When Jiang Feng woke up, he was already sent back to the World Escort Agency. Shui Wuxin was sitting beside him. She was using a small stove to brew medicine for him. Big brother Jiang, you are awake. Shui Wuxin said gently, just in time. The medicine is almost done. What medicine is it? Blood and qi replenishing. Shui Wuxin poured the medicine into a bowl. Last time big brother Jiang fought with Li Fan, you used up a lot of blood and qi. You need to replenish it. You are considerate. Jiang Feng gave her a smile. I am preparing to go into seclusion these few days. I will leave the escort agency's matters to you. I will handle it properly. I will not let you down. Jiang Feng took the medicine. Although the medicine was bitter, his expression did not change as he drank it in one gulp. At the same time, Li Fan was busy looking for someone. Lei has not appeared for a few days. Where is he? Li Fan frowned as he asked Ling Tian, who was in charge of the intelligence system. I have not seen him for a few days. Ling Tian rubbed his temples. I sent some people to look for him. But there was no news. I don't care about him. He is probably sleeping in some brothel. The devil incarnate was lying on the sofa at the side. As he checked the 38 styles in his hand, he mumbled. Last time he went to Tianjin to smash the cannons. It made me look for him for a long time. I was outside in the wind and sun while he was having fun on a woman's belly. His phone was turned off. I can't find him at home. The situation is not right. Ling Tian was not as optimistic as the devil incarnate. Although Lei is a bit playful, he will inform me wherever he goes. This time, he didn't give me any information. Recently, isn't he together with a woman who plays with cars? Lin Yuhsin was doing accounts at the side. When she heard this, she raised her head and interrupted. Chapter 845. A woman who played with cars. Li Fan suddenly remembered that Huang Lei had mentioned that he had been playing with a group of people recently, and he even had a chick. I have an impression. Ling Tian tried hard to recall, what was that woman's name again? He even brought her back for me to have a look. She was dressed shabbily, and I could tell she was a delinquent girl. Zhang Chu Chu. Lin Yuhsan's photographic memory was not just for show. They raced at Cat Ear Mountain. That girl was quite young, looking about 16 or 17 years old. Lin Yuhsin said with great familiarity. Miss Lin, your head is a treasure trove. Devil incarnate couldn't help but exclaim, I think you've only seen her once. How could you remember? Well, I can't forget things that I've seen once. Lin Yuhsin said casually. Domineering, devil incarnate gave a thumbs up. This ability, he couldn't do it. Except for women, devil incarnate could forget everything else very quickly. It's not a good thing to go on like this. Li Fan couldn't just watch Huang Lei go missing. How about this, devil incarnate, you come with me to talk to that girl. Ah. Devil incarnate was a little surprised. You want me to go? Yes. Li Fan nodded, but devil incarnate shook his head repeatedly. No, I won't go. Recently, I've been smuggling some stuff for my family, have you forgotten? Li Fan remembered that devil incarnate was recently responsible for helping the escort agency transport some important supplies. A group of security guards trained by Li Fan, they were all armed to the extreme. I'll go with you. Lin Yuhsin stood up, it's easier to communicate with girls. Ah. Li Fan looked at Lin Yuhsin with some surprise. You really want to go? Otherwise, why would I lie to you? Lin Yuhsin put her hands behind her back and winked at Li Fan. You're so careless. You need a girl to help you. Alright, then come with me. Li Fan had no choice but to rely on Lin Yuhsin. That's more like it. Let's go then. Lin Yuhsin seemed rather happy to be able to act alone with Li Fan. She couldn't wait any longer and walked out the door. Now. Li Fan felt that Lin Yuhsin was a little anxious. At 9 p.m., they started racing at Cat Ear Mountain. Lin Yuhsin reminded him, if you don't hurry up, there won't be enough time. Alright. Li Fan followed Lin Yuhsin downstairs. Lin Yuhsin directly brought Li Fan to the back of the security agency. Lingtian's modified Yuyan was parked there. We're driving this car. Yes, at least it's a modified car. Lin Yuhsin nodded. Lingtian modified it again. I heard that there's a 12-cylinder engine inside now. It's very powerful. So cool. But I don't know how to drive. Li Fan took out his phone. Let old son drive. No need, I'll drive. Lin Yuhsin had already opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat. Then, she crooked her finger at Li Fan. Get in. Damn, you know how to drive. Li Fan was shocked. Is there anything I don't know? Lin Yuhsin blinked at Li Fan. That's true. Li Fan sat in the front passenger seat. Lin Yuhsin stepped on the accelerator and the car slowly moved. Why is this car so slow? Li Fan was puzzled. I didn't turn on the exhaust. Lin Yuhsin rolled her eyes at Li Fan. This is the city. Are you waiting for the police to come and arrest you? That's true. Speeding will get you a ticket. Speeding will get you a ticket. Illegally modifying a car will get your car impounded. Using a fake license plate will get you 12 penalty points. Lin Yuhsin said, but most importantly, driving without a license will get you arrested. What? Driving without a license? Li Fan blinked. Ah, there's a traffic police. Lin Yuhsin saw there was a traffic police officer in front of them and blocked their way. She turned on the exhaust and then shifted the gear to S. The car suddenly let out a roaring sound. Following that, the whole car seemed to have gone crazy as it sped forward. Li Fan was ruthlessly pressed against the back of the seat. Before the traffic police could react, this Swift had flashed past them, bringing with it a strong gust of wind. Stop! Stop! The traffic police roared at the Swift. Two of them had already entered the police car. But Lin Yuhsin was like an experienced driver. She nimbly stepped on the accelerator, turned the steering wheel, and drove through the streets. Soon, the traffic police car disappeared without a trace. In less than 10 minutes, they had reached the outskirts and arrived at Cat Ear Mountain. Although Li Fan had practiced martial arts, he was still scared to the point that he was drenched in cold sweat as if he had just taken a bath. Who did you learn how to drive? After the car slowed down, Li Fan finally caught his breath and asked. I learned it from the TV. Lin Yuhsin's words made Li Fan's pants a little wet. Fuck, I got into an illegal car. In this secluded Cat Ear Mountain, from time to time, the roar of the car engine could be heard. They should be here. Lin Yuhsin also heard the sound of the car engine. Let's go up. Where are they? At the top of the mountain. Drive slowly, call me good sister and I will drive slowly. Lin Yuhsin's mouth raised into a smile. Li Fan was so angry that he almost cried. Fuck, this Lin Yuhsin had also learned bad things. Let's go. Lin Yuhsin shifted the car to S as Li Fan hurriedly shouted. Good sister, let's slow down. No problem. Lin Yuhsin slowed down the car and slowly drove along the mountain road toward the top of the mountain. When Li Fan arrived at the top of the mountain, he found that there were already a lot of cars parked there. Most of them were sports cars, and occasionally there were 2 supercars. A lot of young people gathered here, some were drinking, some were quarreling, it was as lively as one could imagine. This place was filled with a wild atmosphere, as if it was not wild here, it was not normal. Li Fan and the others slowly drove the car over. It was an ordinary little Swift, so no one paid attention to it. But Lin Yuhsin pointed to a red Ferrari F12 and said, that's the car, Zhang Chu is standing there. Li Fan looked over. Beside the red Ferrari stood a young woman wearing a white mink top and a pair of jeans with holes on her lower body. This girl had thick smoky makeup, and her eyes were painted like a panda. But she was very thin, and her legs were as thin as bones, which did not look like the style that Huang Lei liked. This is Zhang Chu, the girl that Huang Lei had flirted with before. Li Fan was a little surprised. She doesn't look like me. At least her figure is much different from what I imagined. Yes, it is indeed her. The first time I saw her, I was also shocked. Lin Yuhsin nodded, proving that Li Fan did not see wrongly. Chapter 846. Li Fan still can't believe his eyes. Huang Lei would like this kind of woman. This is impossible. Is Huang Lei blind? AI, why does it sound so weird? Although the girl in front of him is quite thin, Li Fan doesn't like her heavy makeup. After all, he is spoiled by Lin Yuhsin and Muronging. Naturally, he can't tolerate this kind of girl. Go and ask her. Li Fan told Lin Yuhsin, you sit in the car and don't come out. It's a bit messy outside. Lock the door. Okay, you go and find out what's going on. Lin Yuhsin nodded and watched Li Fan get off the car. Li Fan, still wearing his school uniform, approached Zhang Chuchu, who is wearing a smoky outfit. Are you Zhang Chuchu? Although the surroundings are very noisy, Li Fan's voice clearly passed to Zhang Chuchu's ears. Zhang Chuchu chewed her gum and looked at Li Fan with disdain. Little friend, what are you doing here? Looking for your mom. Looking for you. Li Fan is not angry, but calmly looked at the flamboyant Zhang Chuchu. I have something to ask you. Do I know you, little friend? Zhang Chuchu squinted her eyes at Li Fan. Zhang Chuchu, I seem to be 1 or 2 years older than you. Li Fan estimated this girl's age to be at most 18 years old. Although she is dressed like a hipster, it's hard to conceal her immaturity. It's none of your business. Are you asking for a beating? Zhang Chuchu glared at Li Fan with a fierce look. Brat, what do you want with my girlfriend? A rich young master with dyed yellow hair got out of the Ferrari, holding a beautiful axe in his hand. He looked at Li Fan with disdain, looking for trouble. I just want to ask some questions. I'll leave once I'm done. Li Fan was still polite. Zhang Chuchu, do you know Huang Lei? At the mention of Huang Lei, the two's expressions changed. Zhang Chuchu's expression turned ugly, while the rich blonde boy roared. Motherfucker, you're here to cause trouble. Where's that idiot Huang Lei? Get him out here, I still want to have another match with him. Looks like you don't know. Li Fan looked at Zhang Chuchu and said, but your girlfriend seems to know. She broke up with Huang Lei a long time ago. Hurry up and scram, or your father will chop you to death. Young Master Fu cursed, my family is rich. Even if I chop you to death, I'll just compensate you with some money. Hurry up and get lost. Zhang Chuchu, don't you want to tell me? Li Fan looked at Zhang Chuchu, ignored young Master Fu, and asked, although he's a bit frivolous, he's still a brother who's been through life and death with me. Now that something has happened to him, I can't ignore it. I'll let you ask. Young Master Fu was finally angry. He picked up the hand axe and chopped towards Li Fan. Li Fan casually raised his right hand and used 2 fingers to clamp young Master Fu's hand axe. Zhang Chuchu, please tell me. Thank you. Zhang Chuchu and young Master Fu were both stunned. He only used 2 fingers to clamp the hand axe. What kind of background did this high school student have? Young Master Fu wanted to pull out his hand axe, but Li Fan exerted force with 2 fingers. With a cracking sound, the hand axe was immediately snapped by his fingers. Young Master Fu was dumbfounded. Are you willing to tell me? Li Fan asked again. I can't tell you, Zhang Chuchu shook her head. Do you think that I'm a bit too friendly? Li Fan's eyes narrowed slightly. Zhang Chuchu felt a terrifying aura coming from Li Fan's body, as if a man was holding a dagger to her throat. It made her hair stand on end and all her hair stand on end. Why don't you have a match with us? Zhang Chu pointed to little Yuyan behind Li Fan. I saw you drove here. Then let's follow our rules. Beat us on the Cat Ear Mountain track, and I'll tell you about Huang Lei. If you lose, leave quickly. Looking at Zhang Chu's appearance, Li Fan felt that even if he forced her, he wouldn't be able to force her to say anything. It's good to test the waters and see what kind of tricks this girl is playing. Kid. No matter what means you used. I've never lost on this track. Young Master Fu pointed to his supercar. If you lose, you have to leave your car behind. Sure. Li Fan was confident. Then what if you lose? How about you leave your car behind? Fuck, let's do it. Many people around shouted that young Master Fu wasn't worth it, but young Master Fu was still young Master Fu. He didn't care about money at all. He just wanted to win against Li Fan to wash away the shame just now. Li Fan turned his head and glanced. Lin Yuhsian also heard Li Fan's words and nodded to him. Lin Yuhsian looked like a well-behaved girl, but in fact, she especially liked exciting things. Otherwise, she wouldn't have secretly learned how to race. Li Fan sat back in the car and fastened his seatbelt. Lin Yuhsian drove the little Yuyan and slowly stopped at the starting point of the track. Next to it was the Ferrari F12 that was burning its tires. Are you confident? Li Fan looked at Lin Yuhsian, who was putting on a pair of racing gloves, and asked. According to probability, if our car is competing against the opponent's F12, we only have a 2% chance of winning. Lin Yuhsian analyzed. However, our car was modified by Ling Tian, so it can increase our chances of winning by 35%. Also, if I drive, it can increase by another 10%. That's 47%. It's not even half. Li Fan curled his lips. But with you, it'll be 100%. Lin Yuhsian glanced at Li Fan. Aren't you the biggest cheat in this race? Ah. Li Fan laughed dryly. If you say that, I won't refute you. Come, don't disappoint them. Don't worry, I guarantee they'll be satisfied. Lin Yuhsian waited for the signal to start the race. A woman wearing shorts in the middle of winter walked to the front and raised the LED panel in her hands high up. Countdown. The beautiful woman said sweetly. She raised the panel up high and the countdown began. In the Ferrari next door, the rich young master was still mocking Li Fan. Letting a woman drive, such garbage. Your broken car, I'm going to leave it here today. However, I'm not interested in your garbage car. After I win, I'll smash it and hear the sound. I'm afraid that won't work. Li Fan shrugged. This car is Ling Tian's treasure. I don't care, eat your fart. The countdown on the signal board reached 0. Lin Yuhsian and the rich young master stepped on the accelerator almost at the same time. The two cars sped out at the same time, but the Ferrari F12 speed was obviously faster. It sped out and brought up a trail of dust. Lin Yuhsian, on the other hand, didn't panic. She put the car into S gear and began to accelerate, following behind the Ferrari. Chapter 847. With the speed of a Ferrari, how could a Swift compare to it? Almost no one was optimistic about Li Fan's chances. This Swift was only fit to eat dust behind the Ferrari. Cat Ear Mountain was surrounded by mountain roads. In front of them was a large winding road with a 90-degree angle. When they reached here, the rich young master hurriedly stepped on the brakes and slowed down the Ferrari. This place was known as a curve of death. If they didn't slow down, the car would rush down. However, Lin Yuhsian stepped on the accelerator all the way, almost stepping into the gas tank. She pulled it to S and turned on the air intake switch. The 12-cylinder engine finally reached its limit. Two streams of flames shot out from the Swift's throat. Lin Yuhsian didn't have the slightest intention of slowing down. She drove the car to its maximum speed and directly rushed towards the 90-degree curve. Fuck, are they crazy? The rich young master was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. They were going to die. However, Lin Yuhsian coordinated with the accelerator and the steering wheel. She had already calculated the car's trajectory. According to her calculations, the car directly turned and made a big circle at the 90-degree curve. Then, with a beautiful drift, it turned around just like that. However, at the last corner, the rear tires slid off the mountain road. If they continued to slide, both of them would die in a car crash. This was the meaning of Li Fan's existence. He raised his hand and released his true qi. It was as if a huge invisible hand was supporting the bottom of the car. Unexpectedly, the Swift was lifted up and pressed back onto the mountain road. The Swift completed a big drift. Then, it maintained its high speed and sped down the mountain. They are crazy. The rich young master couldn't help but curse. These two people were simply crazy. Crazy. He also wanted to test the other party's method of drifting, but he resisted. Although he liked racing and looking for excitement, he wasn't a fool. He wouldn't throw his life away. It was just a bend. It didn't matter. There was a long tunnel in front of them. It was a straight road. There was a 100% chance that they could overtake the Swift. The two cars sped madly on the mountain road one after the other. Soon, both of them drove into a mountain tunnel. The deep tunnel was a straight line that was 5 kilometers long, leading to the end of the mountain. After a few turns, the Ferrari 12 had been left far behind. But on this tunnel, the Ferrari had already begun to move, fiercely chasing after the Swift. Although Xiao Yuyan had already changed to a 12-cylinder engine, it was still a distance away from a supercar. Before long, the Ferrari would overtake little Yuyan and leave her behind. I'll leave it to you. Lin Yuhsian drove steadily and ordered. No problem. Li Fan stretched out his hand. True Qi appeared behind him and formed an invisible wind wall in front of the Ferrari. The speed of the Ferrari was directly slowed down. No matter how young Master Fu stepped on the accelerator, the speed of the car couldn't go up. Only the angry roar of the engine could be heard. Fuck. 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 Young Master Fu cursed, what's going on? Seeing that Xiao Yuyan was getting further and further away from him, young Master Fu felt like crying. He had already been defeated by that idiot named Huang Lei once. Could it be that he would be defeated again? Damn it, Huang Lei had defeated him by making him eat a laxative, causing him to be in a bad condition when he was driving. That's why he lost. But what's going on this time? Is there a problem with the car? Impossible. My car has been maintained very well. How could there be a problem? Strange, this is really strange. No matter how unhappy young Master Fu was, he could no longer catch up to Xiao Yuyan. In front of them was the finish line. What shocked everyone was that Xiao Yuyan had actually rushed over first and took the first place. Lin Yuhsian elegantly walked out of the car and swung her hair, attracting all kinds of saliva from the surrounding men. This woman was so beautiful. Moreover, she was young and tender. With one look, one could tell that she was different from those flirtatious women here. Young Master Fu's car also drove over and stopped beside Li Fan and the rest. Young Master Fu kicked open the car door and angrily looked at Li Fan. I lost unwillingly. It's my car that has a problem. So it's my fault. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, although this matter was indeed his fault. Who can defeat him? Who will I give 1,000,000? Young Master Fu's temper was a bit explosive. With his shout, the surrounding people became excited. One by one, they took out all kinds of weapons from their cars and shouted as they charged towards Li Fan. Hang! Li Fan was too lazy to make a move. He stomped his feet as his chi exploded and rushed out in all directions. Those punks who were shouting and rushing over were all blown away in the next second. In a blink of an eye, they were blown tens of meters away and fell to the ground. I don't have much patience. As Li Fan spoke, he kicked young Master Fu's Ferrari. The front of the Ferrari was immediately dented from the stomp. Zhang Chu-Chu, hurry up and say it. Lin Yuhsian reminded Zhang Chu-Chu, he really doesn't have much patience. Okay, don't hit him. I'll say it. Zhang Chu-Chu was also frightened and quickly said, don't do it. Say it. Li Fan retracted his foot and young Master Fu sat on the ground. Zhang Chu-Chu lowered her head and said slowly with a pale face. The last time I went out with Huang Lei, I saw a man in a black suit. He told me to bring Huang Lei to Cat Ear Mountain's Panshan Road. Otherwise he would kill me. Later on, when we reached Panshan Road, we hit a truck and I fainted. When I woke up, he was gone. Black suit. Do you remember what that person looked like? Li Fan frowned and asked. I don't remember. He was still wearing sunglasses. Zhang Chu-Chu looked like she really didn't remember. Li Fan felt that it was useless to ask further. This trip was not in vain. At least he knew that something had happened to Huang Lei. Someone must have planned to kidnap him but didn't touch this girl. It was probably because they didn't want to cause any trouble. Or rather, this group of people was fearless and didn't care about others at all. No matter who captured Lei, I won't let him go. Li Fan frowned, instruct Lu Xinan and Ling Tian to investigate Huang Lei's whereabouts. Even if I have to dig 3 feet into the ground, I will rescue Lei. Okay. Lin Yuhsian nodded, but City A is still fine. If Huang Lei was taken to another city or even abroad, how are we going to find him? There must be some clues. Li Fan said, by the way, I'll look for Little Four Eyes. Maybe he has some mutant with telekinesis who can help me. That's possible. Lin Yuhsian's eyes lit up. I forgot that we still have a Special Abilities Bureau. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.